हेलो दोस्तों, स्वागत है आपका टफ स्टोरी पॉडकास्ट में, एक प्लेटफॉर्म जहां हम मिलते हैं उन लोगों से जिन्होंने अपने आइडियाज और मेहनत से नए इनोवेशंस को जिंदगी में बदला है। आज के एपिसोड के गेस्ट है मिस्टर सुनील माडिकटला, फाउंडर एंड सीईओ ऑफ EYVA, एक डिवाइस जो नॉन इन्वेसिव टेक्नोलॉजी के जरिए 6 की वाइटल्स जैसे कि ब्लड ग्लूकोज, ECG, हार्ट रेट, SpO2, HbA1c और ब्लड प्रेशर को सिर्फ 60 सेकेंड्स में मेजर करता है। सुनील जी का जो फोकस है वो हेल्थ टेक में नए स्टैंडर्ड सेट करना और होलिस्टिक हेल्थ को प्रमोट करना है। और आज मेरे साथ है वेनु अन्नमराजू, जो अपने थॉटफुल सवाल और एंगेजिंग स्टाइल के साथ डिस्कशंस को और भी इंटरेस्टिंग और इंसाइटफुल बना देते हैं। ये एपिसोड काफी इंटरेस्टिंग रहने वाला है क्योंकि हम जानेंगे कि कैसे सुनील जी ने अपनी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप जर्नी शुरू की और उनकी चैलेंजेस और इनोवेशंस के बारे में।
If you have to do something so deeply with so much of passion, you need to hate something else with the same passion. So I asked the counselor itself back then that, hey, what do you suggest? She told, college stays for 4 years, branch stays for 40 years. Now choose. You have to look at VC also as a startup. A startup with a problem statement that, hey, give me X, I'll make it 10X. That's their core based problem statement. If you think that you can get certain things done in 2 hours by taking a flight, by spending a little more, try to get that work done in those 2 hours so that you can spend the rest of the time to do more. When a guy in an Audi Q7 says this to me, I have to take it seriously. Right people giving you right advice at a right time changes things. If your thoughts are so pure, fate and the destiny you make more or less the same.
What I was trying to convey is basically men are generally hiding all their sorrows or they are fighting the battles alone. Yeah. They don't open up because men are made or told that you are strong. You don't cry. Boys don't cry.
People often stuck in these scenarios either to blame themselves, blame someone or talk to someone just because they feel good about it.
ये एपिसोड काफी इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाला है, तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं आज का टफ स्टोरी।
Sunil, how are you doing?
Doing great. Yeah, pretty fine this morning. How are you?
We are doing good. I mean, we both had a morning walk. We are morning walk buddies. So we start our day focusing on health and talk about wealth. Unfortunately.
I'm glad to hear this.
I mean, that's our common link, right?
Yeah.
We connect every day morning for the walking part, and then we keep talking about different health related stuff, and
then real estate talk which rubs off on me, and then
he talks about AI which rubs off on me.
Talk which influences me, so we influence each other,
right?
And yeah, we have an interesting friends group and
we complement each other, and there is a proper diversion that there's a proper area where we feel that okay, this is where we should stop. When he talks about AI, I say okay, theek hai. I talk about real estate, he might say the same thing.
I think you are living the life there.
At least the mornings are good. And that's something which most of the people should focus on. At least start the day with a good fitness and health related thoughts.
Yeah.
And talking about fitness, how are we connected? So your team had connected to me a year back for one of your products, which is a health related product. Yeah. But before I go to the product and make it look like a marketing video, this is not a marketing video. I'm just trying to understand you as a person. I just want to understand what has been your life journey. I want to just document the whole part. So let's start off with everything, Sunil. So where did you start your journey? Like, where did you do your schooling and college, university? How was the whole thing?
Right. So So actually, I'm from Kurnool.
Okay.
It's a place that is 200 kilometers from here.
Okay.
Born in a middle class family. My dad works for the government. My mom is a homemaker.
Okay.
All my schooling happened in Kurnool. From my plus 2, I'm in Hyderabad. So it's been around 18 plus years that I'm in Hyderabad. So I relate to Hyderabad more now.
Okay. So Kurnool is part of Rayalaseema? No.
Yes. Kurnool
spicy food part is from Kurnool, right?
All the spicy, hot weather, everything is from Kurnool.
So where did you have do your plus 12th? I mean, in Hyderabad?
In Hyderabad,
Osmania University affiliated college?
No, like any other plus 1, plus 2 kid, I also joined Narayana colleges.
Oh wow. So Narayana Chaitanya batch is a different batch.
Chaitanya was not there at that time?
It
or
was there.
it
It was there. It was there.
It was. I mean, I was part of Nalanda, which was like a
Yeah.
slightly upper class. मार
We
वही
used to have
पढ़ते
tetrahedron and all that. Tetrahedron, JVS. Of course, that was for coaching. But
ये पढ़ाई
Little
वाले-
Flower College was the
पढ़ाई वाली बातें मेरे ऊपर से जा रही हैं. So I don't know what you just said. I understand Little Flower.
Little Flower College was.
I shouldn't say something about Little Flower right now. It will go like shaming. But college day में लौंडे वहीं पे घूमते थे. I had ऊपर Little Flower College. It was famous.
Yeah. Famous for other things.
So post 11th 12th, what did you do? Like
So post 11th 12th, I had a big decision to make back then. I got CAC in a great college, and I got electronics in a decent college. And I was confused. Like CS was booming and everything. So I asked the counselor itself back then that, hey, what do you suggest that I choose? The answer that she gave kind of stayed back with me for ages. She told college stays for 4 years. Branch stays for 40 years. Now choose.
college stays for 4 years.
Branch stays for 40 years.
Okay.
So branch is like the field, engineering field that you choose. Yeah, core area stays for 40 years.
So you do civil, so it's going to stay with you for 40 years.
Yes. You are a civil engineer or an electronic engineer for the rest of your life, or a software engineer.
Unless everyone switches to computer science programming.
Back then it was very clearly defined. Now it is not.
It's an interesting thing. I never understood this part. I mean, never knew this part. Coming from business background, every few years we keep changing business. जहाँ opportunity मिला वहाँ कूदते हैं हम लोग. And that's a fair point. जो पढ़ाई करते हैं, they are marrying that.
Right from 10th, you're already deciding whether it's MPC or BPC or commerce, right? So your path is kind of set
Not really.
at that point.
मुश्किल से
Not
10th
people
पास
like
किया.
you.
मुझे MPC में डाल दिया. मुझे नहीं पता था मैं मॉम में. And then after MPC I did BCom. So
Actually, same thing happened with me. I loved BPC a lot.
Okay.
I wanted to be a doctor actually. But my 10th score spoke otherwise.
I mean, in that those years, everyone's scores were like that. I guess.
So then my dad told, at that time, BPC matlab you go either you become a doctor or become no one. Right?
That was a real risk at that time.
Yes. Then I felt like, okay, then let me try MPC. And 2 months went in after I joined my +1 +2, and then my dad came and asked, hey, I know I forced you into this, but do you want to change to BPC if you like it there? But by then I was already loving mathematics. So I was like, I want to stay here.
You don't want to cut frogs and rats.
I would have loved to, but somehow I loved mathematics a lot better because I started seeing the world in a very different lens after that. Mathematics, all credit goes to the lecturers.
Definitely.
the way they showed how mathematics can be related to everything that you do in life.
So where did you do your engineering from?
So I did my engineering from JNTU here.
JNTU.
Yeah.
So those days I feel CBIT, अपने MGIT, JNTU, these 3-4 were the well-known ones.
OU. Yeah.
OU.
Yeah.
But CBIT was the 10 lakh bracket one. NRI quota and all the stuff. I mean, मुझे याद है जहाँ तक. I don't know if you're from the same zones. I am talking about 2000 exact year, roughly around 5 years plus or minus.
Yeah, around 5 years.
So those days it was all CBIT, MGIT or JNTU and all these colleges.
Yes.
Aurora कोई था?
हाँ.
Aurora degree था.
नहीं, Aurora engineering
भी था.
Yeah. It's not close.
There were a lot of in those years. I remember Hyderabad had a lot of engineering colleges around Ramoji Film City because of the real estate factor. Like जिसको देखो जमीन खरीद रहा है, एक engineering college डाल दिया. Because I knew an uncle. I used to live in Snehapuri, Nagol side, Hyderabad, part of the Hyderabad. Like it's called as the eastern part.
Right.
और उन्होंने 200 एकड़ जमीन खरीद ली. Now he didn't know what to do about it. He said मैं प्रिंसिपल बन जाता हूँ, engineering college डाल देता हूँ. हम लोग इनिशियली जाते थे, सो वी वर द टिम्बर सप्लायर्स एंड स्टफ, तो वी न्यू हिम, तो हम लकड़ी देने जाते थे. वो लुंगी पहन के घूम रहे हैं. 3 months later when we go for the payment, he was in a suit and he's like, all kids are around today. हम लोग एम लेंगे अंकल लेंदी.
What situation was so different in 95, 90s because there were very few engineering colleges. I had to study in Bangalore because I did not get a seat in Hyderabad or Andhra. Even Ravi, my brother, he spent one full year, got some rank. He may have gotten in civils. He then tried again. At that point, my dad decided, no, at least Bangalore mein mil raha hai. So he did medical electronics in Bangalore. He works in GE. So he has worked on MRI, PET, CT modalities as an engineer, and then he moved to other things. But he also has a medical side of his education and background. So a little bit of his medical understanding rubs off on me, even though I don't want it.
Family influence. A lot of business rubs on me, that's the reason. Everyone around business. And when I talk about MSET, I didn't even know what is MSET. If someone in your family has done engineering, they would have an effect on you. Yeah. We all were into business, we all talk money.
Right.
And whatever money, I mean, we were not even like middle class, we will call it a lower class, whatever. But theek hai. The point is, I was told कि बेटा next week MSET exam है लिख के आना. So I went there, I saw a lot of dots, I filled all the dots, I came back. I still got engineering seat. I was like, क्यों? I didn't do that. But so moving on, when you're talking...
You did engineering and real estate a favor by not joining.
Come on. Boss, these days none of the real estate guys are actually doing actual construction. They are more into office. They have amazing office setups. They're good resellers.
Yeah.
And they give the contracts to someone else. The actual construction is done by the core companies only. So
that company name you don't have heard of.
No one would have heard of that. But they do to the minimum specification which is provided.
Yes.
Anyway, so moving on back from engineering, what is the progress then? What did you do?
You see, I always used to tinker with things at home as well. Even in engineering, I kind of was, thinking about, different ideas. One of them was so much of noise on the roads. I was thinking, how can I use this energy to charge some things?
Wow.
Honkings and everything, right?
Pollution to power.
Yeah.
You could have called it.
Yeah.
Power to pollution, pollution to power.
So this was one of the thoughts. But thing is, with the basic understanding I had, I didn't know how to even build it.
Have some water.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't know how to even build it. But I was having these thoughts about, how can I make sense of things around us? There is one saying, I don't know where I heard from. If we can't really avoid a situation, maybe use the situation to your advantage. So that's what was a innovation that I was thinking about, but nothing happened. Then I'm also a little lazy around charging these electronic devices. My phone, even now my friends know that my phone dies off, and I don't even know it.
Okay.
So I'm too lazy to charge. So 2008 I was thinking, how about I enter into a room and my phone gets automatically starts picking up charge from somewhere. But again, I didn't know how to do that. But I was just thinking, in that direction. 2013 is when Nokia first released that wireless charging. Otherwise, you need to be plugged
QI based.
Yeah. Then another thing, same in engineering was, at the time you had to download songs from internet.
Songs.pk.
100 KB per second.
Torrents.
Songs.pk.
Songs.pk. It's still famous. I don't know how come.
Yeah, those MP3 songs, right?
Yeah.
So we had to keep that in the night. By morning, if you are lucky, you'll get those songs.
I used to love that experience.
Yeah, I mean,
because if you are smart, if you can smartly download it when BSNL is giving you higher speed over the night at lower cost. It was such a nice planning and you feel that you are better than your friends. I mean, it's more of a show off thing. मैंने कल 4 मूवी के गाने डाउनलोड किए, सुना नहीं है. I had a whole hard disk of like 300-500 movies and thousands of songs, all R.D. Burman collection, Lata Mangeshkar collection, all collections in the hard drive. And now we are all on cloud.
Yeah. So the thing is, I was thinking about this in same 2009. Like, why should I download? Why can't my phone internet was introduced into the phone. 2G was there, right? So why can't I stream?
Transmit,
from somewhere. I didn't know it's called cloud. No. I didn't know, how that happens. But these are ideas I was constantly having to do something.
So what did people around you say when you would float these ideas and Did you have people with similar mind, or did they say, "Hey, what are you thinking? Are you wasting time?"
I was fortunate enough there. My uncle used to work for a European MNC. They used to build electronics for all the top luxury car brands. So I used to visit their offices. I used to see all those most advanced technology that these guys were building electronics for 10 years down the line projects, not on that day.
Long cycle usually in that industry.
When even in these supercars, there was one model where the headlights turn before the car turns, so that you can see the road better. So it will see there's a road end and the lights turn towards the road. Okay. So that your car can safely navigate. So these kind of technology. So and I had good friend circle also. All these guys wanted to do something in life.
Having a friend circle solves half the problem. The right friend circle.
But you also had access to your uncle's lab or the setup
Exposure, I would
Exposure.
say. Maybe not access, but exposure is.
I had.
Because that is one key area which I notice when we talk about the jobs versus business confusion, which is always in my mind. I talk about people. The business ecosystem always has this benefit because all of our parents, we talk business, family, uncle. Sunday uncle comes at home, he says, क्या कर रहे हो, टीवी देख रहे हो, दुकान पे बैठो, कुछ सीखोगे, कुछ सीखोगे. When it comes to jobs, people come home, they are always frustrated. Job అయిపోయింది, work done. Now, and they don't even talk what happened good there. They talk only, it's such a headache, man. Boss is giving me so much work, it's a pain. So they only throw the negative tantrums around, while business circle has always given a positive exposure. True. So when you said you had access to your uncle's lab, I think that would be one of the
it was
changing
one
moments.
of the motivators for me, because back then as an engineering college kid, high-tech city was like a wow. All those crazy buildings,
Cyber towers,
Cyberpel. So their office was in Cyberpel, and that entire team was like that. There were 30 IITians particularly hired by that brand, and their lab was very open. So they used to bring in families sometimes to show how the space is. So in the center they have this huge car with all those electronics open
connected.
And it was all moving. So that kind of motivated me in a positive way that I think I should do. But my uncle also played a very critical role in my life, so that I can probably be a lot better. So everything I propose, he always used to.
From experience, you would see where can it fail.
Correct.
And see how you can avoid that path.
So that made me more focus more on the perfection of the products. So all these ideas were there, had a little exposure of how things work in real world. But I strongly felt I didn't know what I was missing actually. Something was missing, I knew that, but I didn't know what it was. It took me 4 years after that to...
After engineering, right?
After engineering.
Usually after engineering we realize, okay, I should have done something different in engineering rather than... reading notes, making notes.
Copying notes, getting them.
At least my experience of engineering has been, it just exposes you, hey, these are all the different things out there. When you need, at least something like that exists, you go look it up. And maybe that is all I got out of my engineering. Much later after engineering, I went back and then started reading all of those things over the years, and then I appreciated, this is what it is. I never understood it then.
Actually, back then. But I have a question around it. When you said you went back and you realized it, I still never understood why did I read cos theta, tan theta in my schooling. Till date, I have never seen the benefit of it. Like I was forced to study all the cos theta, tan theta, trigonometry. कहीं काम नहीं आया, doesn't काम आया है. Basic numbers is good. It was forced upon. It should be something.
I can give you the use case there in a while with the product that we are talking about.
Okay.
I got to use literally every mathematical equation that is available in the book.
So talking about your product, so you are talking about you saw your uncle's hardware thing.
Yes.
So when did you start your own stuff, and did you directly get success, or were there like failures? What was the journey like?
Even the start was very delayed for me actually. Right after engineering, I read somewhere again back then that after 20 you shouldn't depend on your parents. So I took it way too seriously somehow. Okay. So right after my engineering, I decided I'll join a job.
Okay.
I mean, I got into campus placements and everything. So I joined a job. That's where Alair, the company I worked for in healthcare, happened. I had 3 other offers from government and other things, because my dad forced me that I paid 50 rupees, so you go write. So I went and wrote and I got, and interestingly, but I couldn't go because I felt like, for me, moving from electronics to computer science in the campus placement itself was a very painful process. If I wanted to go into accounts and look at papers, I will be never doing that.
This resonates a lot with me, because when I did my master's, people, because they needed jobs, they would switch to computer science and all that. I'm like, I spent 6 years working on this. Why would I want to switch? So I actually came back to India after my education, and then I worked in a core area that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I was happy.
Yeah.
So I think yours feels a bit similar when you say that.
You'll get that feeling there. So, but that job also taught me a lot of things. I started understanding how a business works. There was one beautiful example. So in our training, there was one guy who is a CA. Okay. He told, see, back then postpaid bills were used to come in the post.
Hard copies.
So that guy told, let's say Airtel has around 1 crore postpaid customers, and on a monthly basis they have to spend around 100 rupees for the paper and everything, and they have to send it to you on a monthly basis to 1 crore people. That is 100 crore bill on Airtel on a monthly basis. 1200 crore bill. Now a business like all these services companies go to them and says, hey, you are spending 1200 crore on that. Give me 800 crores. I'll build an email system, automated, that this bill goes to those guys without a fail. And these guys like, oh, we are saving 33% on my expenditure. Cool, let's do it. But this service company knows that they can build it in 100 crores.
Yes.
So the rest 700 crores is a win situation. And with these 100 crores, they'll hire 100 people. On an year, and they'll build a beautiful building, AC, cabs, crazy good food and everything. They'll bring you in. So in this entire equation, everyone is a winner, and there's a lot of economy
being generated,
being distributed and generated.
Early years of internet and .com.
So when he told, like, that's when I started looking at business from a very different perspective after that. Like all that you need to give is a great proposition that guy can't deny.
Find a problem.
Yeah.
Figure out a solution.
And find the sweet spot price.
Yes. Sweet spot price that they can't really...
No one can match it.
Yeah, match it or deny it. So,
but do you think that we are talking about this in 2024, maybe the video goes live in 2025, but I'm just saying that, now those days are gone where there was good profit margins or huge profits, because now everyone says thanks to AI. I say no thanks to AI. The information access is with everyone. There's huge competition. There's less profit share, and everyone is trying to do everything.
Yeah.
But that is commoditization. That's a natural progression of technology.
Yeah.
But then that sadly, the days when you're referring to like someone making 80-90% of profits, now it's gone down to like 2-3% of profits.
I think you can relate this to your YouTube early years also.
Everything, yes.
I completely agree. So that entire proposition shifted from making money to attracting more and more people to be there with that business for way too long, to trust the business, so that in the public markets, it's a whole different game altogether. Right? In the public markets, it's all about how many people actually can know this brand and back the brand when they go public. That's where they make the money. So the money making that was supposed to be in business shifted to money making that is after you list from the retail investors, and then they wanted to do it. I think that took a major shift post that. But all these brands were like acres of lands. It's all because of the profitability that they had, right?
So those are the real assets. Right now they just showcase basic assets, but actual assets were made long back.
Yes.
Which I feel, that's the reason I'm talking about the whole business profits and everything. I see a lot of people from my current generation, current generation, they aren't able to make, the new generation, they are making money. They are sitting down in cool offices. They feel that having a coffee in Starbucks every day is justifying, and they are having an amazing office. They don't realize, and they make fun of the oldies saying that अरे उनका क्या धंधा है, कुछ नहीं
You
है.
mean they're not building assets?
They're not building assets. They are making, they are having working capital. But the real assets were made by those guys who have hundreds of acres of land, or not even few acres of land, versus these guys who have a nice, swaggy, rented office. There's a big difference between both of those. Someone having a cool office, they feel, the perception says that, oh, you're doing good. But the other guy sitting outside in a hot room would be like, you enjoy for a few days, you don't know what's going to come next. And that's the reality. Like, things are transforming in such a way that it's getting tougher.
So what were your early failures that were big lessons for you, and then you tried to learn from it? And
so if you have to do something so deeply with so much of passion, you need to hate something else with the same passion.
Okay.
So that's one thing I hated was my job. Honestly. So at 9 to 6 I was doing some coding. I know how the systems are functioning. I wanted to know more. I was more hungry. I was able to finish things in half day, and rest of the half day I was just sitting in front of the system looking at it for some mistake to happen so that I'll go correct it. So then I kind of got bored. I mean, and none of the team tells me, what the bigger picture looks like. And then there was this acquisition happening for those guys. A lot of things were moving. I didn't know why that is even happening. So then I felt like if I do this, after 40 years, if I look back, half of my life is about waiting for the computer to tell me that's a mistake. That was the life. Then I felt like I took a decision that no, I'll have to quit this. But I can't even build my company, because I feel intuitively that I lose something. I lack something actually. So then I decided I'll do masters from a premier institute to go search for what is missing in me. That's when my IIIT happened.
so the idea of building a company or being an entrepreneur was there right after engineering, or during engineering, or before?
Or the pain of the job helped.
it made my thesis valid. So from childhood we were, I mean, we were like that. At my home also they kind of supported whatever, all the nonsense stuff I did. One day I saw ISRO was launching the first PSLV on TV. Then I thought we had a Kodak camera with a timer. Then I decided I'll build a rocket, attach that camera to it, and I want to take a picture of my city. So I built that little paper rocket, and I didn't know how to do the propulsion. So, but I saw somewhere in one of the Hollywood movies that you light up a fire and spray perfume on it, and it'll give that fire, right? So then I was like, it does. So the alcohol and the gas will actually.
But won't it just explode when you?
It does. That's a risk. But I didn't know that's a risk. So I put these sticks to the side of that rocket. Matchsticks. I lit it up and then I sprayed. That entire thing was burnt. It didn't take off. But I'm glad at my home they never stopped me from doing all this. It's just that they wanted me to be little safe, but everything else was more or less like fun. So I've been tinkering about with ideas and everything, but as I told, something wasn't formalizing in my mind that, okay, this is a direction. That direction happened.
Basically, your mind can't be idle. It has to constantly be pick an idea and you have to be thinking about it. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I can understand where. I can understand that.
So, what was your first hardware product? And
we built a automatic home lighting automation actually.
Okay.
That was my project. So you say switch on, then it will all switch on. Switch on light 2. Then it will switch on 2 off.
Second
2 lights.
So
that
was this in the Alexa era or pre-Alexa?
I'm talking about 2008. No Alexa.
2008.
Pre-recession.
NLP was also
pre-recession of 2009-10.
2008.
So what we did was we converted audio into bytes and measured the size of the bytes to give as an input. If the bytes are 5, give 1. If the bytes are 7, give 2.
So no recognition,
voice recognition.
Because I remember at that time it was still not very infancy. Only nuance was there. Dragon naturally speaking.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. So there was no voice recognition. There was just I converted them into digital. I didn't want to put a logical way of how I do it. However it is, I just want to light up. That's what was the thought process. So we saw patterns in this, and then say, okay, 5, like do 1, 6, do 2.
When you say we, what was the?
We are a team of 3.
Friends,
college friends. I started off.
So you remember how much you invest in it?
I think we did around 800 to 1200 rupees on that.
On the project.
On the project?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the MRP or something.
No, the project we invested.
And did you start selling it?
No, we just built. So there were these competitions used to happen between colleges. So we just built it and showcased it. I don't play. Hey, switch on. Then it will switch on. And then we told them it will be useful for older people who couldn't walk. So we built the use case after we built it.
I hope Amazon doesn't listen. The Alexa is not built for just old people. We use it day to day, day out.
Yeah.
So what is your first actual hardware product which you worked about for the public, like which was sold in the market?
Temperature sensor.
Okay.
This was right after IIIT. We built a temperature sensor that is 1/100th of a sand grain. Which can be used in high performance systems. Usually computers get the chipset gets hotter when they're running high performance data, right? So since it's made of sand and everything, temperature plays a major role. The entire functionality changes when temperature changes. Simple example, if a brand is building chipset for countries like Ireland or South Africa, their testing processes are a lot more stringent compared to our conditions where temperatures more or less stays in ideal ranges.
So they have a diverse range, like very cold to very hot.
The wafers comes like that. The centerpiece of the wafers goes to rich countries and extreme countries. Edge chipset goes to other countries because they doesn't really need that level of testing.
I want to circle back on IIIT. You said that's when you decided to do masters, etc. So you want to understand that journey a little.
Actually, I never thought I'll get into IIIT after what I proved to them in the interview.
So to get to the interview phase, you would have prepared for MTech exam, GATE, etc., right?
Yes. So again, life pushed me a little there. I think I was a little comfortable in a location there, but then my job demanded me to move to Bangalore. I was in Hyderabad, pretty chilled, but then my job demanded me to move to Bangalore where I had little lesser friends, obviously. So, and that's when I started introspecting all this. And then one day, I think I remember April 1st or 2nd, someday, it was a Sunday, I realized this year I have to crack my MTech because I have to do it. So then I went to at the time you have to buy books from those Koti kind of places, right? I went there, I bought all the books, I put a timer schedule, got very old alarm clock, not the phone. And then I started preparing while I was working. December, May, one of my friends told me that, hey, IIIT is opening up exam, why don't you write? I didn't want to write. I felt like, TK, I'll give it a try. It will be like a practice before I go ahead with my IIT. So I went, I wrote, and I got in. Then I was like, okay, since I got in, then I started researching about IIIT. Then I found it's one of the top 3 institutes in India around research. So then I went for interview. So IIIT interview process, they had this one question. If you are given every freedom to build some system, what will you build? That was the question. Then I wrote that, a lot of people, when they lose their loved ones, they might not just miss the physical form. They actually miss the warmth or the conversations or the guidance from those people. Some things you want to talk to them to hear about what they think and all that, right? So I wanted to build a digital system that will mimic the person's personality, so that though the person is not physically there with you, the thoughts are always with you. And AI was not there back then.
But you would have seen these in movies and
I don't know how I felt like. So I felt like, okay, let me...
Of all the things in the world, you picked that.
I don't know why I picked it. I picked it. And I also wrote that in future, there might be a way that you can have a light projected in space so that they'll be...
hologram.
Hologram. I didn't know it was hologram. So that's what I wrote in that interview. And they invited and they asked about that. I told what I was thinking. It's just that they wanted to know to what level I understand that entire process than just an idea.
So 30 years later, when your grandkids would want to know more about you, they'll watch our podcast. They'll know, like, oh, this is how my grandpa went through the whole journey. That's the reason I'm documenting.
This is really interesting.
I want to just document things so that you can always look back and say like, oh, I completely forgot what I did. And we keep forgetting, right? We keep, when he's talking about triple ID, you would now think, oh, what is that friend doing, man? It's been long time. Yeah. You go back to those memories and you feel like, array, where is that guy now? What am I doing? We are always so busy that we keep forgetting the past.
True.
And there should be some gadgets, but now if someone talks about those kind of gadgets, it would come into the privacy laws.
Yeah.
People will come and say, the person has left and you're still bringing their information back.
Yeah, I think this
Did you get the consent?
Is more or less a reality now. I think maybe in the West, I guess.
Did you get a consent from the dead person? Is what the question would be now in the new age world.
True.
So I want to circle back on one pattern I observed in all this conversation is, you don't know something already exists and you've already figured out, oh, this is what it could be like, and then later you come to know, oh, that exists. So I kind of resonate with that, because whenever I would pick a problem, I would keep thinking about it in my own isolated thing, and I would come up with something innovative. Sometimes it exists outside, but sometimes I'll find, oh, there's something different than what else exists.
Actually, there's the Triple IT chairman, in one of his talks, he talked about this. Provided a person is given more or less similar environment and similar circumstances around them, two people in the world can think exactly the same.
So does that validate the theory which is seen in movies saying like there are 7 people like you all over the world?
They might not they might not be talking the lookalikes there, I guess. The thought process also maybe.
Thought process, okay. Makes sense. But when it comes to business mind, the way business people work is, first thing is they don't even validate their own idea. They say like, kisi ne kiya hoga. First, let's check in the market. Yes. We start the other way around.
Yes.
When you said...
In patenting, it's the exact opposite. You should not do that, because you're contaminating your idea and you're liable to be sued.
But what if you say that, hey, I'll work on an idea wherein I take a piece of stick and I can use it to write down on something. Oh, this looks fantastic. And you spend a year only to realize there are like millions of people who have only done that.
Yes, there is a risk.
Actually, I kind of agree to what Amit is saying. I was in tech world doing deep research. Now I'm in business world, kind of looking at it. So then once I started looking at it, the first thing that we do is let's search. Because what he said is right. In tech, you want to breathe in, breathe out that thought process. You strongly believe and you just go in, no matter what happens after that. But in business, everything what happens after that is the problem.
That's completely exactly opposite of what you are talking. We work only 100% exactly opposite. Like the moment you say, I'm working on this, सबको बताओ. सबसे बात करो. किसी ने अगर किया है, तो we are wasting time. There's no business left. That's how we work.
So I think the key thing there is, you have a problem that you want to solve. It needs to be solved. Now, you may have figured out a good way to solve it, and you don't want to, a lot of times what at least my experience is if I start searching for ideas, I get influenced by it. I lose my original train of thought, my original individual innovative thinking. So there is a risk.
Yeah, even now I do that. So at a top level idea, I discuss with our marketing sales team and look at it. But when I have to build some tech, I get isolated completely. I mean, I don't even let anyone enter into my home actually. I literally sit there. Sometimes I won't be doing anything. I might be sitting in front of the TV, but something else is running. What I strongly feel is, I think someone or something starts talking to you when you sit in that isolation. It's as if the world opens up and start plotting patterns in front of you about what you are thinking.
So you should be having problems sleeping during those phases, or are you able to sleep?
I try to lie on bed so that it comes to me sometimes.
But do you get enough sleep during those phases?
Obviously, you don't. It's like adrenaline is rushing so much in your body during that time.
I have trouble sleeping during those phases where I'm trying to think about a problem very deeply, and that gets me into a hyperactive mode, which fuels the thinking more. But I know I have to come out of it, else it's a problem.
Yeah. No, I experience those things a lot of times. That suddenly things in a noisy world that I've been there from the morning, where I'm not able to actually put a pattern. When I sit in that isolation, somehow it forms. It forms a line and then shows in that isolation.
Like you mentioned, you moved from a college project to a physical hardware, which was temperature sensor. Were you able to cash in on to that somehow?
Yeah, in fact, it was.
Because I'm from business background. I haven't done good business, but I'm from business background. So for me, numbers relate more, not the technology part. So what were the numbers like?
We had a contract. One of the designs was tested to get into Tesla.
Nice.
Yeah, but that project didn't kick off. That's where earlier we were talking, the
semiconductor discussion.
Yeah. Right? So the company got sold off in the middle because the first chip had an issue, and they were like, the bigger company took it off and then ran it separately.
So basically your sensor was going to get into Tesla as one of the component through some other company, and that company got sold off.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But we had a commercial.
So you made money.
Weightage. Yeah. We did.
Okay. And if you could just share some numbers, because I'm sure past we can always talk and be proud about, but current there are some.
It's around, I think, $50,000.
Nice. And you're talking about out of college within a year or two.
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
So we did that contract and then got out. That's what pushed me further to.
How did you latch on to that problem, that building a temperature sensor?
So the semiconductors were struggling to build temperature sensor more and more accurate and scalable. So back then, if a chip was this size, they wanted to make it this, right? So when you are scaling, your entire systems inside also have to scale down. That's where the real problem comes. Certain chips are built to not scale. In the moment you scale, the entire functionality goes off.
So my mental model of temperature measurement of a chip was, you'll have a thermistor attached onto the top and then it's measuring.
That's pretty way old actually, because it kills a lot of area. Here I am talking about 0.2 micrometer or nanometer square kind of sizes. Thermistor and all are at a much bigger.
You're talking about a very small
CMOS chip.
Okay.
CMOS design.
Not an SOC level.
So what we did was, and the IoT was like a
fancy
thing back then. IoT, everyone was like IoTs and edge computing and all that. So IoT you have to shrink. So I built a design that can be scaled to any size you want, and the functionality doesn't get impacted. And you put it in either in Ireland or in South Africa or in India. The functionality won't get impacted.
So is it embedded into the wafer itself?
Yes. It was part of the design itself.
And was it a different material?
Same material.
Part of the same.
But the technology we used is something to give an analogy and not to bore Amit so much.
No. Makes sense. No, there's something in my eye. I was trying to.
Amit is crying.
No, I am more interested कि वो $50,000 से आपने जमीन खरीदी, स्टॉक्स में डाला.
तुम्हारा दिमाग वैसा चल रहा है.
अरे गर्मी तो चढ़ गई, सेंसर में वो दिख रही है गर्मी. वहां से आपने उस.
तो मैं ऐसा मैं सोच रहा हूँ मे बी इट्स बेस्ड ऑन लीकेज करंट.
Correct. Correct. Exactly right. So I was just giving that analogy, about to give that analogy. You open tap, you get water. You close tap, you don't get water. In semiconductors, the concept is more or less same. You get current, you don't get current. But there is that intermediate layer where you slightly let the tap open, so there are drops of water coming in. That's a leakage current. There's now the entire majority of the ultra low power systems work on leakage currents. And I was more or less read every research paper around leakage current. If you show me the paper, I'll tell you what it is, what's there inside.
So did you patent this?
Yes, we did. I did.
Good.
That. I did patent that, and I got that money. The first thing we did was register the company.
Okay.
And hire some people, raise investments.
Oh, so you worked on technology, got patent, made money, and then you registered the company.
Yeah.
So did you make royalty from the patent money or by selling?
It was a one-time pay, exclusive.
Who paid? Or the company that?
Yes.
It's very rare that patents actually generate money. Often they are a hole in the pocket.
Yeah.
Because you have to register, etc. Yeah. So making money off a patent is great.
Hole in the money, hole in the pocket, or else something good on your resume, like life profile, like hey, I own.
After first patent के बाद बाकी सब ठीक है. But making money out of a patent is very hard because every company will try to figure out how can I work around this patent and still get my job.
I won't get this guy on board. Yeah.
So if you made money, it means they did not have time for a workaround, or they could not find a workaround.
I remember a patent during my early days of my tech coverage career. There was some guy from Tamil Nadu who patented triple SIM smartphones and quad SIM smartphones. Not a big deal. I mean, no one thought there could be a patent. And every time the companies launched a smartphone, I think but dual SIM also, if I'm not wrong, I don't know, could be fact checked. And he was minting like huge amount of money because the moment Max said that we are launching dual phones in India, one of the initial phones, everyone had to pay some 40 or 80 rupees to him for every phone. And then we saw millions of phones.
So patent trolls bolte hain.
Yeah, no, patents are built on some of the simplest ideas where they make money. One of the well-known example back then was from IBM. So when they make the chip wafer, it will be like a disc, like a plate. What we eat, right? It will be like a plate. These guys didn't know where to start, where the chip was starting actually.
Okay.
So one guy at IBM put a notch on one corner and said, "This is where you start."
That is a patent.
यार ये तो scam है, मतलब not scam, it's a smart or scam. It's how you
The point of a patent is that no one else should sue you for doing this. It's if you did not patent it, and you were putting the notch and using it into your business, some other company patents it and says, oh, now you're infringing on mine. So a lot of patents are defensive.
For every fabrication that happened, that guy got royalty. It's a very simple idea. Put a notch. Look at from here.
He would say like if your design starts from here, it's my patent.
Yes, that's it.
Wow. So patent trolls is also a right thing then. So most of the patent guys, the business side of guys would always think ki work around kya ho sakta hai, how can I create a patent which can stop others.
A round notch, another guy put a square notch and said this is mine. But thing is, you still need to pay that guy because the notch concept is base.
Patented.
Yeah.
Smart. Or work around.
Yeah, all those, yeah.
नहीं, अगर तुम लोग रहते, गुज्जू लोग रहते तो क्या बोलते, मैं मार्कर डाल देता हूँ.
कोई नॉच
से लगाना मार्कर.
That's a new innovation. That's
a new innovation. So moving on, you went from temperature sensor to what's the next thing? Like,
so I started,
gradually many products, or then there was
I started at IP level. I started thinking little beyond because health. that company, they were also trying to do wearables. They were focusing on health. I got an exposure around.
Which company was this?
It's INEDA Systems.
I know Ainada. Dasrath Gude.
Balaji. I worked very close with Balaji and Manu.
We interacted with them. In fact, someone in Atria also has worked there. Okay.
That was one of the biggest product. Yeah, Global Foundry. I mean, that's where Krishna, Nava, all these guys.
It's all a connected world.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They gave me that first chance. After that, I raised funds to further do more IPs. That's when I started thinking about how can we do non-invasive health monitoring. Top level thought process was non-invasive health monitoring. Then I started looking little deeper. That's when one of my uncles had diabetes. He went on a walk and he collapsed, and next thing we saw him was an ICU bed, and then they couldn't save him after that. So I started thinking why people are not able to actually look at health. Then the very common thing I observed with every middle class guy, every rich person, is ignorance. We just ignore, and I wanted to understand why do they ignore.
I'm a Hindi guy, Gujarati guy. English, some line I have read is ignorance is a bliss. I don't understand it, but I'm just bringing it.
Yeah.
Not trying to sound intellectual. So I'm just asking, like, what, when you say isn't that the opposite of what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I mean, ignorance is a bliss in a lot of ways, where your mind happily says, okay, nothing, everything is cool, go. So then you'll have that placebo effect of just...
Because I have a huge discussion we do every day morning. I was talking about Gujaratis, diabetes, and food. All of my friends in the society, when we walk, they talk only about you should not eat this, you should eat that, you should not eat this, and everyone, almost 50-60% of them have sugar issues, diabetic. And then I go to my Gujarati groups. I was recently at a conference, and morning breakfast we have 2 sweets, lunch we have 2 sweets plus ice cream, dinner we have 2 sweets. No one is talking about sugar, no one is talking about diabetes, everyone is talking about money, everyone is talking about luxury, holidays. I'm not saying they're all like multi-crorepati, but they're all happy. Yeah. They're not worried about sugar issues. Yes. Someone भी आज आपको sugar है? हाँ है तो क्या हुआ? वो तो रहता है, सबके पास है, तुम्हारे पास नहीं है. It's like तुम्हारे पास पैसा नहीं है. They're like, so ignorance is the bliss here. They are not even worried. So I felt most people who are worried about sugar
are the ones who will get it. who will suffer through it.
Who will suffer through it. Correct. Because sugar generally comes from stress is what I know. I don't know much of medical side, but I'm just trying to understand it. Sugar comes from stress primarily, to some extent maybe.
It is. Stress is a...
No, I'm talking to a social media world where if I say something, it could again be taken in a wrong way, and without disclaimer, it goes in a wrong way.
No,
it comes from stress. But most of the sugar patients are always in stress that I have sugar. Yeah. Even if they are eating little also, they feel that कितना sugar आ गया होगा, कितना होगा sugar, I'll monitor, I'll measure, I'll do that, and they're again spiking up the sugar. Come to a Gujarati guy, बिंदास बैठा है, वो जलेबी खा रहा है, sugar मेरा परसों देखा था 400 है. मैंने यहाँ वॉकिंग ग्रुप में 200 पे रोग गोलियां खा रहे हैं सुबह सुबह, वो पेट में इंजेक्शन ले रहे हैं, इंसुलिन, राइट, कुछ कर रहे हैं, एंड दैट गाय एट 400 इज गिविंग मी अ चैलेंज. 10 रसगुल्ला 20 रसगुल्ला कितना चैलेंज करना है. आई एम लाइक दिस इज हाउ यू शुड बी. But anyway,
no, I want to say something here. See, thing is, that guy is very happy for till whenever he leaves and everything. But when he is not there, the most impacted people are the
people
ones
around.
We need to think about them. When you look at it from their perspective, then you won't look at ignorance as a bliss. As for him, yeah, cool, whatever.
It's fun till it happens.
Yes, it's all fun. I mean, nothing wrong in being happy till you go.
Yep.
Right. You know,
but once you go, everyone in the whole family.
You know, if let's say there's a bread earner in a family with all that ignorance, something happened. It impacts him for a generation or two.
True.
That's where ignorance is a bliss becomes a more complicated.
But sometimes having the data also creates a lot of
it does.
You know, it takes a lot of mental toll. At least personally, I'm circling back to your point only, but on the opposite side, because I have gone through some of my health data. Venu knows that, and I am only looking at it the whole day, and that is giving me more stress,
give you
and that data is about stress only. So I'm taking stress about the stress which I have, and that's increasing my stress.
Right.
So sometimes I feel like नहीं check करना था यार, ये yearly checkup नहीं करना है, अब से मुझे नहीं करना है. But then behind my mind it says, every year you're doing it, you have to do it, you should know it has gone up or it has gone down.
Your obsession with numbers will force you to go for a checkup next year.
I think it has to flow naturally with you. It's not about numbers. It's not about, see, nothing changes instantaneously.
Right.
It's just about understanding what your body is built towards. That's it. Your sometimes your body also tells you. If I go for swimming after 2 hours, then I'll be like, okay, stop. My body is constantly telling me that stop.
You have reached a limit.
Exactly. But you are just adding another layer of data just to quantify that stop point. If you look at it, then you see nothing, as I said, right? In health, nothing changes in a day. Nothing changes in an hour. It's a very long gradual process that you have to go through. So you can't understand health after it's gone bad. You just have to know where your limits are. That's it.
You see, make a note of all the triggers which are happening and react based on that.
You shouldn't stop doing it. You just need to know if there is a situation where you have to stop, you know what to stop. That's it.
So I'm switching back to your personal journey. How self-aware were you when you were, say, doing engineering versus now? What I mean is, what do you know about your strengths, your weaknesses? Because all of that awareness is what allows us to improve. And
it's a deep question, actually. I don't know if I can quantify how much self-aware I was, but one thing I can strongly quantify was if I think a lot before I take a step. Once I do, I won't really just come back, because I would have thought about every possible scenario that can happen, and then I would have jumped into it. So my decision making, once it is done, I'll just move ahead. I don't.
But as a part of your framework, do you talk to people who are experts in the field? Do you sometimes when we are obsessed with an idea, we don't like to hear negatives
no from
or discouragement about that idea. So there's always that question: should I ask someone expert? And if I get negative feedback, what do I do?
It has both its positives and negatives. Honestly, you will know who can give you constructive feedback, who can actually put you down with a shot, right? So constructive feedback, though negative, is great. That hey, this is good, but
This is the challenge.
yeah, why didn't you
How
think
you could
about
make it better?
Make it this way.
Yeah, that will help you.
Yeah.
Like there's another way of saying that this doesn't work.
And they do it.
Yeah.
They might also
Yeah,
copy it.
they might also do it. A lot of times that also happens in startups particularly.
So what has been your experience with VCs?
I was shot down with a shotgun. not even a slap, not shotgun.
There's a coincidence that I am going to speak to 2 VC guys in the next week, and they are our mutual contacts. They wouldn't know I'm speaking to you right now. But on LinkedIn, they are our mutual connections.
It's shotguns or missiles only, nothing smaller. So that will be very depressing actually. To you expect something that okay, these guys are gonna help me to get there.
Is that engagement typically a strategy that VCs apply by being overly negative, or do they try to give honest feedback on?
They'll be genuine. I'm very very sure they are just genuine. It's not that they want to rip you off at the bud or whatever. It's more like their experiences tells them something. It might be wrong, it might be right. Majority of the times it might be wrong, because they don't know who the person is actually. that
And the same conviction about the idea, they may not have the same conviction.
They won't have the domain authority or knowledge about that area. What I understood about VCs by speaking to numerous people is that they work only like with a calculator saying like, okay, I have invested in these 10 people, at least one of them should give me like huge return. So we just need to see the quickest exit
They're
possible.
also answerable to someone.
Exactly. So their pain points are in a much bigger scale. Though these guys, some of them have very good commitment that hey, in electric vehicles, this is gonna be a kick-ass product that can, if it can comes out.
Just to sell.
But they go to their ICR, LPs, will say, India, is it ready? Because that guy has to finally write a check to these guys. So then 2 out of 4 also says I am doubtful, then deal won't go. But these guys are committed. They so much like it. But
So we interviewed 2 weeks back someone who built a EV tractor, a close friend of mine. Similar challenges.
So everyone has their similar pain points when it comes to VCs.
yes, so
Basically, VCs help you fly, but the moment they give you money, they cut off your wings. They don't allow you to fly.
they will redesign your wings as much as possible. But you know,
Either you fly like a rocket or you're flying within their own boundary. Like they make you fly in their own zone. Like,
they'll put no-fly zones on the corner.
I guess probably it's because of their need for predictability in the roadmap or predictability in the outcome.
see, a startup founder, like someone from medtech, someone from mobility or EVs or everyone, most of every person, someone looks at money, someone looks at money and fame, someone wants money, fame and something else, connections, everything. VCs is finally numbers, right? It's all a math for them. हमने पैसा डाला, कितना return आया? Each of these guys getting it better, eventually they are not going to get the credit. They'll just get credit saying, one of these VCs had invested. The credit goes to the individual guys only. So for them, it's about money.
Yes.
VCs is all about like a bank, interest-free bank.
Exactly. See, they are there only.
But I guess their connections also help.
Yeah, I mean, once they are committing to something, they'll have a clear understanding
The
where all they
connections
can also help.
Help to the startup. I mean, I'm talking in your context, but it's because they are helping themselves primarily.
Yes.
True, but
That's the reason.
It's a win-win.
You have to look at VC also as a startup. A startup with a problem statement that, hey, give me X, I'll make it 10X. That's their core base problem statement.
And that's it.
Right.
X ko 100X.
Yeah, in this field, maybe some of the funds will have a very narrowed focus to hey, someone does EV, they do only EV, nothing else, with that expertise that they already have. But problem statement at the bottom line is common. Give me X, I'll make 10X.
So what was your first funding? You mentioned about post the temperature sensor, you got your first funding.
Yeah. So
And how much was that
Funding
number?
from INEDA, or did you work in INEDA?
No. After that, I start because I wanted to start it off always on my own. So external angel investors funded me.
Okay.
But I'm really fortunate here. They understood the space I am in. They helped me write down. Back then, I didn't have too much understanding about how to put together things in business, right? They helped me understand, write all the risk factors that are there in this business. Help me with the valuation numbers, stake, how percentages and all that. Angel investors really help you as a founder when you first start off, because you won't know what you are actually treading into the waters. These guys would have a fair understanding of the business. These people would have been doing some medium level to upper level businesses, or been in part of much bigger organizations as CXOs or whatever. So they know how things move.
They are the real angels.
Literal angels, actually. I mean, at least I could find it.
How did you find them?
I met them through a networking meeting. I was at T-Hub. T-Hub was built right in IIIT campus.
I have been there. The old one.
Phase 1, right? So while I was studying there, I was always used to sit outside T-Hub just to, at nights at 8 p.m. I used to have my dinner, just go sit there outside, thinking that someday I'll...
Oh, so there's a future for all the students who are sitting outside. Whenever I go there, I see like guys are just sitting around. So this is what is the future. You observe, you understand, and
you want to see that that's a glass. You want to be inside that glass.
you want to be in the room.
Yeah, in the room
Where the money talks happen.
and then you are outside sitting on a bench just looking at it. That's
So how
days.
big was your first round? Like,
It's I think around 200K check.
nice.
I always,
Generally, angels invest
Much
less.
smaller.
They are smaller amount, but they are the ones who bet more, and they get a good stake also.
And it also focuses you to do an MVP with that money, bring something out.
yes, correct. There was a lot more clarity I got after that money came in. Compliance. Though angels, they made sure my compliance is always really, really good. They helped me with certain connections, money. This is where I whenever I have to take a decision, I used to look to them to give me advices. Though they are just investors, they just put in money. But I also used to run it by them that, hey, I'm thinking like this. I was very fortunate to also hear from them that, hey, this is what we think. But the decision is yours and we will stand behind you when you take that decision.
It is an amazing experience and privilege.
Yeah, I was even till date I'm so fortunate. I happen to have that kind of people with me. Any given day, advices are all there. I listen to them. If something is missing, I want to kind of fill the gap, but they leave the decision to me, saying that you know these waters way deeper than what.
And from experience, probably they feel that someone with so much conviction will always take the right decision. They just need to make an informed decision, probably. You give inputs and then...
Yes. Yeah. They never interfere also. And I started learning from them actually. I used to be way too restricted with the money that they gave, that I want to spend, little. If I had to travel to Bangalore, I used to take a bus. But then they came and told me that, see, in this, you need to look at time, not money.
Time is money.
Time is money.
Time is money.
If you think that you can get certain things done in 2 hours by taking a flight, by spending a little more, try to get that work done in those 2 hours so that you can spend the rest of the time to do more.
Optimize your time.
Yeah.
Often that perspective does not come on its own to us. It does not come naturally. But someone experience says that it clicks.
When a guy in an Audi Q7 says this to me, I have to take it seriously.
But then how has... were you able to return that money back, or did they get a good exit, or unfortunately it was the other way? How did it go?
They don't want to exit.
They're still with you, is what you're saying.
So we have tens of multiples that happened from that date to till date. 200K is much bigger right now. That's what we are able to build as a wealth.
So it's always a saying, the higher risk you take, the higher returns you get. Angels are actually angels, and they're taking the highest risk because they're investing on no one. I'm not talking about you, but most of the startup ideas, most people say that I'll do something new, but we know that nahi chalega yaar, ye risky hai.
But to your point, Amit, I think they always invest on the person, I think.
Yeah.
The idea is probably nothing without the person, the persona.
But it's not always that the person would do good, right? I mean, if I'm looking at Shark Tank, I'm not judging anyone, but if I look at a lot of Shark Tank people, the business is nothing, and the person is just bluffing by selling random shit, saying like, hey, I'm going to do this, and you're saying you'll do, you're not doing it actually. And they still get funded. And later, post Shark Tank, when I look at the stories, they had actually failed.
What you're referring to is talk. I am referring to someone with a passion, knowledge, depth, and also has the groundwork to prove, which is probably what I think they would have seen.
They're also betting, basically. See, it's
betting,
person to person.
It's a calculated risk that we take, because they spent around 6 months with me, meeting more often, a month on month, seeing how the progress is happening in 6 months.
Before they invested in you?
Yeah, before they invested in. How fast things are moving with me when I'm doing that there. And I used to update them, hey, I just did this, I just got this.
All the milestones were shared.
Contract done. So that, and they have seen me in the worst of the time during that phase. Because I was building that entire chip. Getting that opportunity itself was pretty big for me as an individual. I was doing at least 30 members work all alone. Wow. All that I was given was a system and a room, and then said, build this and put it into this system. So I remember I took my brush in my shorts. I was triple IT, right? So shorts, a brush, bag, went to that office on Monday morning or so. I think I came back on Saturday evening or night. I literally slept there. Because the simulations were running.
You have to be there again, rerun it.
Be there midnight. I'll wake up. I'll see, okay, it's ran. Then I'll see something is missing. Then I put and I'll sleep. So I knew their security guards a lot better than anyone else. I used to sit with them and eat my dinner. I used to brush in the office because I had the brush. I used to go to the washroom, brush, and then again.
Because everything feels like a waste of time. Even going home to get ready and
eating became a waste of time for me. Yeah. So I just wanted to get that because there was a deadline and I want to prove.
So will the new generation save all the through all this with all these AI changes and everything? Like they'll just run it, subtask it to someone else, and they'll just chill out and feel that these oldies were doing a lot of effort here. Faltu mein.
But that planning is also has to
struggle. All the phase has to be gone through.
Even with AI, it runs the systems, but you have to.
Someone has to prompt it.
Yeah, someone has to give the prompt. Someone has to put that there.
Your ability to search in this generation, our ability to search and get information is key. Then it will be the ability to prompt.
Actually, I would like to add one input here, relying on automated systems. So I ran, tomorrow morning is my deadline. Today evening we ran the entire simulation. It threw out 6,000 errors.
Okay.
6,000 errors. That engineering director was like, this doesn't go because my chip fails if it goes.
Kuch nahi kar sakte abhi.
Then I was like, I was almost crying because I spent months, literally day and night. One day I had this muscle sprain. I felt like I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating properly. Then I felt like something's wrong with my heart. I'll go to a hospital here. I'll get the ECG done. If something is wrong, I'll stop everything here. If nothing is wrong, I'll come back and work. I went there. I got it checked. It showed normal. The moment I saw normal, I came back and I started. So that kind of efforts went in, and then that day I saw 6,000 errors. And I didn't know what to do. The engineering director was like, no.
Was it the first time you ran that simulation?
No, I kept on running for long enough. But that's the first time it got integrated into their systems overall. That integration failed.
So probably some timing errors or something?
Not just timing. It was a metal density on the chip. My area was consuming very high metal density. So the chip overall fails. At a wafer level. So then I called Manohar actually. I told, hey, this is what I'm hearing. Now I don't know. I'm literally scared what to do. Then he told, Sunil, today 6:30 p.m. is their EOD. Your EOD is tomorrow morning 10 a.m. So do what you can do. I was like, cool. Then I stopped everything there. I went back to Triple IT. I got freshen up a little bit and everything. Then I called my professor. He already left Triple IT and joined Intel back then. I called and told, sir, I ran simulations. Automated systems are throwing 6,000 errors, showing metal density. What am I supposed to do? Then he told, see, Sunil, automated systems runs on rules.
Change the rule.
See how you can break the rule and then achieve it. Then I started thinking, sitting there. Then I realized, instead of laying so many wires there, usually a transistor will have higher metal density in a smaller area. I replaced all those wires with a transistor, connected all of them to ground. That means it becomes a wire. It becomes a wire. Very high metal density wire in a very small area. Then I got that idea. Then I ran to the office, which was in Banjara Hills. I removed all those. I just put it ground and ran. It's 0 errors. At 3 a.m., I was so happy that I walked from Banjara Hills to Gachibowli.
What?
I did.
You did a marathon, like how I do an NK marathon in the
It
road.
was unwinding.
Yeah, everything was beautiful. The sweepers on the road was looking beautiful to me. Like, wow, the world is so beautiful. Yes,
You solved a big problem which was looking not achievable.
Which I thought I couldn't. Because if either Manohar or my professor or anyone told me that, you know what, stop. It wouldn't, none of this journey would have happened that day. It just that, right people giving you right advice at a right time changes things.
How much do you believe in making your own destiny versus or fate versus making your own destiny versus you still need things to fall in place, right people, right time, right place.
I think it's like this. If your thoughts are so pure, fate and the destiny you make more or less the same.
I will have to think.
Take a moment, think back. Okay.
At the time, I knew whom to call, and I wasn't scared to call them at late in the evening because they are at a much bigger level and everything. I was more or less no one to them, right?
Worst thing is they would not lift a call.
Yes.
Why not try it? Because it's a last situation.
Yeah.
There's no other option.
Yeah. So that's
So what happens when you interact with people? You come with a very, very clear slate of mind. You speak your mind, no twisting, and then you find people on the other side are not like that, or you realize it later. How does that change you?
they'll see me not responding so much after that.
But how does that change you or your perception that hey, should I be so upfront with everyone about everything, or should I be more guarded?
Ideally, obviously we will be guarded with your boundaries to all these people. Very few people that you can open up to an extent, but you you can never open up 100% to anyone. There is one alter you that's the only person who needs to know everything about you, but otherwise everyone else you don't know how things.
But isn't it a fact that during the hardship days or the hard times, even men open up to most extent, like at least 95%?
Only that part. You open up only that part
That you want to open
time.
up.
Yeah.
The part you want to open up. You still have something hidden.
No, I think it's because we know our worst secrets.
Yes.
And as a part of evolution, your brain has to believe you are good. And
No, but it's also the other
we
way.
know our darkest.
No, the point is, what I was trying to convey is basically men are generally hiding all their sorrows or they are fighting the battles alone. Yeah. They don't open up. Like I wouldn't have even told you most of my hardships. I would have told you, बहुत बुरे दिन थे यार ये थे. But still deep down I know there's something which I won't open up. Most people won't open up because men are made or told that you are strong. You don't cry. Boys don't cry. Yeah. So you don't even open up that way, and they all keep their secrets inside.
No, I think apart from that, with over the years, what you'll also understand is the other person might not really be able to help if you open up that other part. Again, one very famous writing. So that's a businessman going. This was a story that they wrote around Kurnool only. Back then, Kurnool is all about the rocks and. Nothing, no trees.
Oh, is it? I knew Kurnool only for a villain getting down the train and killing a girl, lady, some girl. Call it Varsha movie or any movie.
No,
that's what I knew.
That doesn't
and then I understood, it's because of the Rayalaseema Ruchulu and all the spicy food. They're always angry.
that does to you a little bit. But that place is also entire rock bed. So shade is very, very less there. So on the highways also you see too much of rock bed and everything. So there's a businessman going in his car along with his wife and everything, and the car breaks down. Then that guy starts hitting the car.
Okay.
That the stupid car, no water, and everything. Then his wife was sitting beside him. Then he'll start telling her that it's because of you. You delayed, getting ready, blah, blah, all that and that. Then there's another farmer who was walking by, just goes to them and asks, what happened? Then he'll say, my car broke down. Then he'll say, then why don't you lift the car, or I lift the car, you go fix the tire yourself or engine yourself. Then he'll say, no, it's not, it doesn't work like that. And they speak for 2 hours. And then the farmer says, oh, okay, cool. And then he'll go off. Right? In this situation, the author, what the author talks about is, he went through 3 situations there. One, he blamed himself. Or he blamed the car actually, that it went wrong. He blamed his wife that she wasn't ready, blah, blah, whatever. Then he spent 2 hours talking to a novice who doesn't know anything about the car. So there's time wasted. They have to go for an event. But instead there was another option. To the same farmer, he could have asked, is there any mechanical shed close by? Or how far is the next town from here? Can I walk there in those 2 hours and then try to
He could have
get
reached
some
some
help?
other destination.
Yeah. So people often stuck in these scenarios either to blame themselves, blame someone, or talk to someone just because they feel good about it.
Feel lighter.
Yeah. No, but situation stayed same. No, it felt light for a while, but situation is same for that guy. So a person, what they need to do is they have to talk to someone who can actually give them help, do something that can actually get help, or prepare for it so that they will never fall in those situations.
But not everyone has angels around to give them sane advice. So we end up with...
It's about asking a right question.
And the right person probably. Because sometimes you have to put a brave face and then not look weak. But you also need help at the same time. Who do you ask without appearing or undermining yourself? Or
That's when you don't open up so much. You open up only that part of situation and tells them, because they don't want to judge you on other
the
parts.
other aspect, yes. That's the reason kings have wazirs who take care of their sane minds and problems. No, makes sense. Come on, we'll circle back to one of your earlier career or the reason why I know you. So I got in touch with your team a year back, and they were talking to me about sugar, diabetes, and they said that you guys have launched something. And normally whenever I'm in touch with one of our guests on the podcast, I don't promote their product or talk about their product, but since I have been your user, I thought like, hey, let me talk about this product. And this is an interesting piece of technology. I told Venu about it a year back, and I mentioned that whenever we used to talk about blood sugar checking also, we used to have a prick, and कोई खून लेके मुझे result दे रहा था. So how did you get into this, and what was the story behind it?
of all the ideas, why this? I'm sure hundreds of ideas you would have considered. So why this?
So as I told, right, I think this also I got related to an incident. Maybe now that you asked me, I suddenly just remembered it.
No, you mentioned
That's
about
my
your
first
uncle
reaction.
or someone having diabetes.
Before that also, the first reaction I'm telling you, when I was in, I think, 3rd class or 2nd class, we were at our grandma's place. Then for 3 days the power went off because some electricity problem or whatever. Then we had to wait for an engineer to come there and fix it, and then it all got normal. Somehow, I don't know why I thought at that age, what I felt was, it's an electricity problem, so engineer fixed it. What if some person has a problem? A doctor has to fix it. So either I have to become these two. Okay, so I was thinking about a person's health. I don't know why. Maybe the situations or environment or whatever, or that ignorance that I keep seeing. Usually I don't like ignorance, but I keep seeing in people because of their economical factors or the process that is involved in these two areas. So I feel like a person has to understand about themselves, about their health, lot better than them understanding about other person and what they are doing on a social media.
This is also deep, but it hurts.
This would have cut you deep.
Yes, it hurts. I had a few questions around your social media, so I'll not ask them now.
So, I mean, nothing wrong in knowing about others.
Of course.
Right?
But know about yourself first.
Yeah, what
Look
my
at the
friend is
mirror.
doing, where that guy is roaming, what your body is doing. So I just wanted to create a platform for these people to just know how their body is doing. That's a core thought process that made me start off. Then I started looking at what should I measure. Yeah, I wanted people to understand health. But
I have one question. Sorry to pause you. at that point in time when you're thinking about this problem, were you also thinking about the business angle? Okay, how can I make this into a business, or how do I raise funding? Were you thinking about all those things simultaneously, or did you first jump into this and then?
No, I didn't look at it from the business angle. I looked at it from the product market fit. If I bring out this, how many people will want to use this? Is it Hyderabad? Is it AP Telangana? Is it India, or across the globe? Is this a problem that every guy across the globe faces, or is this a problem only I suddenly in the evening I woke up and I realized it's a problem I have?
But at that point you may not have known that this problem is solvable also, right?
I didn't know that it can be solved.
Exactly, because it did non-invasive does not exist.
It doesn't
But
exist.
there's a saying like once you taste blood, you want more. So you have already got some success with some businesses.
Yeah.
So you anyway
With an unsolvable problem, so to speak. So okay, you will find your way.
And did you figure out? Did you read the news before doing this that Apple is also entering this domain?
I didn't know that.
Or you are looking at Apple as an opportunity that maybe they can also look at our. Why not, right?
Exactly.
Any business is good business.
In fact, when I first started thinking, the only thing that I know is I know this problem is for everyone, and I know I can understand signals and electronics a lot better than anyone else. That's one thing I had full confidence on. So I knew that I'll find patterns in understanding this. That's a thought process with which on day one I started off. But by then I was experienced enough.
Did you talk to anyone experienced in this field and seeing negative thing that people have spent years on this, or?
No, not just this. Even on the temperature sensor also, a lot of negative temperature sensor. It was well known product. Even there was a lot of negativity around it, because the common misconception is only people in the West can actually do it, because they have greater institutes, greater resources. If they want to burn $100 million, it is available. So they would have tried everything. That's our, we Indians always
That's a conception.
look at the far mountains that are closer to the sky, unfortunately. But it's also the centuries of suppression we went through. Our only instinct is survival.
We are conditioned.
Our instinct is survival, not build greater. We were suppressed, obviously. Right. Otherwise, 500 years back, our architects were building things crazy good that no one else could. They were making saris that you can put it into a matchbox. They are building architectures that are still standing even to date. So that means they thought bigger. But
We
then it was
lost all this
suppressed.
during this transitions.
So I'm going to circle back to that point where, okay, you would have heard negative things, maybe from people whom you trust, maybe people are experienced in the domain. So how do you determine whether, okay, maybe I'm doing something impractical versus no, let me trust myself and see it through?
How do you go on?
How do you decide when you get genuine information that, okay, people are working on it, they haven't cracked it?
Yes. Actually, sometimes when someone says like that, right, it will question your entire life. Actually, it does. You think that all my friends got lakhs and lakhs of packages. I skipped placements and I'm doing this, and I don't know
You're
what.
talking about the lows.
Yeah, lows, extreme lows. And then parents will have certain expectations of you that you went into Premier Institute. Now the next thing is you'll make money and then you get married. All that is broken.
Before make money in those days, first Katnam and then make money, right?
If you make money, Katna will be more, no?
I thought those days it was more about college, foreign degree, and between all the discussions, Katnam is
I
back.
took a loan for my wedding. Took a marriage loan.
You are a rare gem. Then, I mean, I know my Reddy friends during my college days. They were always like, "क्या कर रहा है, भाई? I am planning to go to UK. वहाँ क्या करेंगे? ఇక్కడికి ఎవరికి తెలుసు ఏం చేస్తున్నా, సో వాట్ విల్ పీపుల్ నో వాట్ ఐఎమ్ డూయింగ్ దేర్, బట్ మై డాడ్ విల్ గెట్ ఎ గుడ్ కట్నం. కట్నం ఇస్ అ డౌరీ basically for who's
I can give examples there my friends, but yeah, so all this pressure was there and everything, right? And then some guy says, why are you even doing this? This doesn't work. It will take you to an extreme low. That's when you might not be able to sleep sometimes, but what I could make out of when I started slowly coming out of this, one thing I learned is, if you face that loss, sleep over it for 2 days. Leave it, let it be, let it kill you internally, but stay with it for 2 days, 3 days.
So that is the part about knowing yourself.
Yeah
You know that okay, you will overcome it in 2 days, 3 days. It has happened in the past.
Yes,
figure
it
out.
has happened in
That's
the past.
a personality thing. I mean, I can see Sunil as exact opposite of me. When I circle back to 15 minutes back when you were saying that I think a lot and then I take a decision. When I do that, it's like Salman Khan dialogue कि मैंने एक बार सोच लिया तो किसी का नहीं सुनता, और मे बी महेश बाबू और समथिंग तेलुगु चिरंजीवी और I don't know, हर लैंग्वेज में वो डायलॉग है.
That's the difference between tech brain and then business brain. तुम लोन नहीं लेते हो.
I am a doer. लोन नहीं लेता. I am a doer. I don't think. I used to. I mean, pre-40s, at least in my 20s, I used to just do it and not think about it. And when you mentioned, I think and then I do after the time. When you said I sleep over it, and first time I'm hearing someone saying I sleep over two nights, I'm like, oh, ये बहुत बड़ा हो गया. I can't even sleep. Think for next 10 minutes also. कुछ करना है, close it. Let's do it right away.
This thinking that I'll sleep over it for 2 nights would have come after a long time. I don't think
Any
it would
such
have
experiences?
come,
No.
So you might also be like an impatient one in the early days.
Yeah, like first negative, shot down. You're questioning everything. You're thinking about it a lot on why did I even do this and everything. But then you next day morning you wake up, you feel little lighter. Yes.
and then you taste a little bit of success.
A little bit of, then you know that you slowly start getting to know that those guys will say you will feel bad, but you will get better.
But success is when you are showing them the middle finger, or when did you feel more happier, by getting something better or also proving them wrong?
Initially I used to think about proving them wrong. Over a period of time I felt like I don't care.
We realize
It's about believing yourself and
because in my life my whole career worked because one of my relative had triggered me at my young age, saying that to my dad, complaining about me, saying that you're wasting on this and don't do this. And when you
get so angry.
you feel when you win over it, you feel that okay, I won, but it's not worth proving it to him and telling it on his face.
You may do it for a different reason, but once you've reached there,
no, but you have that anger all these years saying like I have to prove him. And I believe it's sad, but most of us need that trigger to move out of our comfort zone.
Anger is the biggest motivator.
Yes,
someone has to put you down.
hunger is the biggest motivator. Hunger to do something.
hunger brings anger.
We are no longer that hungry, like you get food on your plate.
No, I don't mean that hunger. Hunger to do something, to create something.
But to prove that also is also hunger, right? To prove him wrong. Someone poking you for no reason in life. I mean, many kids, they are only seeing being triggered by their parents. If parents say that get a job, they feel they keep saying they're not triggered. Someone outsider coming home and telling something on your face, and the kid would come out and say मैं इसको गलत प्रूव करके दिखाऊंगा, जिंदगी में कुछ करके दिखाऊंगा. They don't do this to your parent because then the parent relationship is gone. Some outsider sometimes is needed to some extent, not to the worst extent.
Absolutely.
And they trigger you to the next level.
Anger puts you on this high focus zone.
Path to succeed and
To do.
You want to just prove him wrong. Like, hey, how did you say this to me? And I want to prove him wrong. The moment you realize that you have won over him,
But
at least you got success.
But you, after that you will go to a next level where you don't care
Anything
about
about
that
it.
person.
what do I get out of it is probably what you
But
feel.
that's all again about maturity. You get that wisdom, and by that age, you also have passed through that whole zone.
True. But after multiple incidences, in a startup, you face that on a daily basis, right?
Oh, is it?
So after many incidents, what I felt is, see, you will start accepting that out of 10, 3 or 4 will always have a problem with you. on what you're doing.
Can't please everyone.
You can't please everyone. That's one realization. When you get it, you'll become a lot better.
You'll sleep a lot better.
Yeah, you'll sleep a lot better actually.
So I don't have a thick skin and I'm on social media. So out of 100 replies, even if one person says something negative about it, like yesterday I tweeted something about some IPO or something and someone says show off. And I feel bad about it. I ignore that 99 people said you gave a nice piece of information. I feel bad about it. Then a line comes to back of my mind always saying that you can't make everyone happy except if you're an ice cream seller, ice cream man. He makes everyone around him happy. The kids all go gaga.
Even ice cream doesn't make the parents happy there. So that's the new thing. So no one can make it like
I connect to that when my kids
So the question is people around you. You may have this zeal, motivation and focus, a lot of energy. But what do you do when people around you don't share it? Maybe people who work with you or whom you have hired, for example, maybe they don't understand that, or
I spend a lot of time when I try to hire team members. I'll have a journey with them actually. We don't do last week we spoke, this week that guy is in. That never happens. Never ever happens, at least so far in my team. We usually
opposite. I'm instant hiring guys. I told you total exact personality. I have a lot of learnings from you now.
Actually I want them to, or I want to see some my alter ego qualities in that person. The most common question, two questions I ask him is, if you are given everything in your life, what is that one thing you so much work for on a daily? What is that one thing that motivates you to wake up and go out and do something? But you are given everything. There is no dearth of whatever you want. But there is one thing that you want to do. I just want, because that helps me understand whether that guy has a
what
vision.
motivates them.
Yeah, what motivates them? Whether do they have a vision of to do something, or they are like idhar ja raha hu, paisa aa raha hai, monthly, and then weekends.
I was actually referring to, if you have those kind of people, how do you deal with them? I mean, I am not in the same situation, but my experience has been you get that whole mix. It's always the Pareto distribution, and 80% will be one way, 20% will be a different way. Sometimes they are needed also.
You do that. In fact, I used to put so much effort in kind of bringing them to the level where we are as a team kind of working. But my majority of the mind share was going in focusing on that one person to kind of tell them, motivate them, inspire them, let them learn some things. Still doesn't happen. And initial days I used to feel bad to fire people. Because it hurts, that guy was there day in day out with you trying to do something. You suddenly told them, or have to tell them that, hey, it doesn't work anymore with us. It hurts a lot. It hurts a lot.
Or it used to hurt.
It used to hurt a lot initially. But over the years, what I started seeing is, in a grand plan of what we wanted to do, what we wanted to achieve, in the mission, you just want the best players. It's like India going to win World Cup. You just need best players. You can't go emotional and say, hey, he'll be on bench, but doesn't work.
So this must have been a learning experience
over the
years.
It took years for me to learn like that, where I finally felt like if I have to fire as fast as possible.
So you have been a hardware guy from day one is what I'm trying to understand. And this is your current product, or I can say by the time this video goes live, you might have the other product live also, because we are little laggard and we are going slow with whatever we are going to post on the social media. But that said, how hard is it to build a hardware product in India, or how easy it is? Because as a businessman, I have some ideas So can I do it right away? Because I remember 10 years back, I used to go to China to get talk about smartphone manufacturing, and they used to talk about to get a whole line, you have to invest at least 3 crores of investment, 5 crores of investment to get the basic, I don't know what do you call that.
assembly line.
नहीं, assembly line, वो जो basic design होती है, first unit.
PCB, prototype.
MVPs. Yeah.
So they used to ask us a good amount of chunk of money. So have things changed? And in 2025, like 75 years after independence, do you think India has evolved a lot? What do you think? And how is T-Hub as an exposure? What are your thoughts on
Actually, I think there are two thoughts here. I'll first address the second, where the manufacturing and everything has been pretty much, aged back then itself. How it's changed now, you don't see major change in that process in India at the moment, unfortunate. But good thing is there is good exposure to manufacturers right now in India. With all, very honestly, with all the Make in India, though Indians are not making it, the outside companies are trying to set up their plants here. People are slowly aware how to get assembly lines automated, how to make sure quality is
Something
the center
has
of
started.
everything.
First step in the value chain. Slowly you will climb, just like how Taiwan did. And
We are very well behind China, but picking up. When we first wanted this design, we spoke to 20 manufacturing companies. Each one of them told, sir, ये complicated process है. एक rectangular box में आपको नाइस डिजाइन करके दूंगा हम, क्योंकि वो टाइम और प्राइस. हाँ
These are unibody.
हाँ, yeah, it's a unibody. It has to be cut.
oh, interesting. I didn't observe that.
I mean, why am I even marketing? Because I love Apple laptops and Apple ecosystem. I don't like the Apple iPhones. And fun fact, but they always talk about unibody. That word has been in my mind.
Yeah. So those guys say rectangular box में you'll get it cheaper, faster. They never pay attention to
Detail.
Because they don't have the capability also, I think. So they'll also always try to sell what they have.
No one told them or no one went to them with a problem statement like that. Because India mein, again, I traveled to decent enough countries. Decent enough of them have a perception that India mein technology great hai, they build products wo chalta hai. It works, but they don't focus on anything else. Because they have to give it for cheaper, they have to put so much of value into it, and companies also have to make money out of it.
I was speaking to my uncle who is into gardening tools and stuff, and when we were talking, we discussed the same thing. And jab bhi someone from the West visits China to get some hardware versus someone from India going to China for hardware, the question that American or the Western person would ask is, I want these specifications, I want this quality. Indian would be like, मुझे $50 वाला चाहिए, सबसे सस्ता वाला चाहिए.
And to that point, we also have that myth that China makes inferior products. Or,
But that's sadly because of us. It's our mistake. Correct. We are asking the wrong
they
questions.
make very high class products. It's probably just that we don't import them. So we also have that myth, I guess, somewhere.
It's just that our questions are wrong. Our budgeting is wrong.
Yeah.
We are thinking that Indians don't buy premium products. People are buying it. We have Bisleri at 10 rupees. We have same mineral water at 500 rupees liter also nowadays.
Yes.
So we have a huge different variety of options available. It's just that majority of the products imported from China or price conscious market based, and then everyone looks, the most people who talk about these products are also buying the budget ones.
Correct.
The richer folks don't even talk about the pricing part. They talk about what they are getting value out of that product. Instead of talking about the price part.
Yeah. See, thing is, this is where sometimes where you have to take a decision purely by your business value principles than what pleases other people, right? Simple example is, if I go to a manufacturer, that guy will say, sir, I'll give the same color in plastic.
Same
Nothing
color in plastic.
changes. Same color. Exactly looks like this.
Looks
I'll give
like
in
plastic.
but you'll get it better. But I don't want plastic. My customer is fine, maybe.
I won't even know that.
He will not know it.
But it's your own bar.
Yes.
Excellence bar that prevents you from settling for less.
This product looks like this only when it's metal. Anything else, it doesn't look like that. Or I don't want first copies. I want only this.
So, talking about this product, is it a hardware product or a software product? Why I'm asking you is nowadays, if I look at companies like Ultrahuman, they're not. I don't believe they are a hardware company. The moment when they send me their products,
Because they are selling about sensors, I think.
I mean, that's what we realized later on. I mean, I can openly talk because I never worked with them on a commercial basis, so I can openly talk. They sent me a patch, and it was a new thing for me about what do you call that? What kind of
CGM.
CGM. So I used it, and the moment I shared a video with them, they said, no, we can't go live because you are showing all About's branding. I said, that's what you are using here. No. In a few days, we'll rebrand it to Ultrahuman. We'll have they'll put a patch on that. So now I realize they are no more a hardware company. Ultrahuman showed that they are a hardware company, but it's a software company. They are selling subscriptions.
Yes.
So what is your goal like with your product line and everything?
So more than hardware, software, what I call ourselves is a product company. A product where hardware and software comes together. I don't get hardware from someone else. Neither do I get software from someone else. Both of them are built within my company, and they both come together to form a product. And with more innovations happening, how I see the hardware piece of the product value chain is hardware is your gateway. A
enabler of sorts.
Enabler of what all you can actually understand. With so much competition happening somewhere at the software level, you have to own both of them. You can't
control both the ecosystems.
You have to control.
So in many ways, you are providing a solution. Not even a product is one thing, but solution is the ultimate.
Solution is also a little broader actually. Product comes first. Solution is about giving some actions that an user sees some change in their life at a later point of
But isn't it hard to sell hardware in India compared to the software part? Because if I look at most of the hardware based companies, like I have been through reviewing many hardware based companies. In fact, I have been through the whole journey of Micromax, which became then they keep rebranding it.
You're talking about brand trust. How do you build the brand?
The whole ecosystem, because software, you don't have to do anything. You just launch an app and say that we are launching this, and you're just selling something. And when it comes to hardware, you're talking about something physical, a product, something which people have to buy. It's not something for people to actually buy right away. Like
so if I have to look, break down business, it's about adoption and revenue generation. India has been more towards adoption and revenue generation in the recent times. That's where the app analogy fits much faster. You put an app, adoption is very high, revenue is not going to be much. But when you put a product, adoption is little lesser or very less. But you are making revenues that are...
What about obsolescence and competition? If someone understands, there is money to be made here, they'll flood the market.
Yeah. I mean, if you are a Me Too product, then that hardware becomes your nightmare. Unless you burn so much of money into marketing to show, bring all the celebrities to hold that and then say, hey, I use this.
Because it becomes a commodity. Yeah. Me Too is commodity. It's only margin based.
Then unfortunately, that brand becomes a reseller. There is no difference from a reseller to that brand.
So how long do you think, if I look at your journey, every 2-3 years you have shifted things. How long do you think this journey is going to stay with you? Like you obviously personally that okay, this is also something like I'll latch on to for the next 5 years, 10 years, and then something might change. Or how long do you think?
Actually, particularly around health, what we are seeing around EYVA, what we are seeing is we have maybe did 5 to 10% of what.
So this is
what we could be doing, what we are dreaming to do around this. It also took time for us to narrow down so much with daily learnings that have happened.
What was the first breakthrough in this, where you were struggling with an unsolvable problem and then suddenly you were there?
Glucose. The blood glucose that it gives, which is a USP, it made, 10 years, right? I spent on understanding this vital data and everything.
How many years did you spend on this?
So, though officially at the firm we started in 2017 mid, this has been there in my, I've been thinking about this from 2014-15 kind of time frame. It's there, but I didn't know, I was trying to put together bits and pieces, but not a full-fledged direction that, hey, this is how we are going to take. 2017 is when we started really putting it as an under the radar project. No one knew except our investors on what we were building actually. That came as a learning that...
Did you already have the breakthrough at that time?
No, we started off. I mean, we had all the learnings of what works, what doesn't work and everything. We even solved a problem of thinking this is going to have semiconductor chipset. We have to make sure the chipset is widely available. These are not very specific chipset, because I worked in semi and I know what fails.
You don't want to be dependent on someone.
Yeah,
it
like
has to be controlled.
What chipset does it have? ESP or?
Very generic chipset that even any one of us can just go.
Because compute is not a big requirement here. It's more of the sensor.
Correct, sensors. And even sensors, right? You need to have them ready for mass manufacturability. That doesn't happen in, so there's something called ASIC, application specific integrated circuit. So you have an application, you build chipset only for that. That we didn't want to incorporate into EYVA.
Expensive.
Way too expensive. Even $100 million might not be really sufficient for you to kind of do that. So, and with all my learnings, I know how I have to pick generic chipset, and with all the connects, I know whom to call if I need. So let's say in next 6 months, I need 100,000 sensors. I need to know whom to call. So I was able to have all that background work ready in place. All that my architecture is designed in such a way that I'll pick these things. Once I have them on the board, I'll start tuning them.
So you're right now importing all these components from China, Taiwan?
No, Europe. They come from Europe.
The internals?
The chipset come from Europe.
Okay.
Though they are manufactured in TSMC. Obviously, that's the only world factory. But the manufacturer kind of supplies to us.
Interesting. Again, I can circle back to my uncle. He also mentioned the same thing. He imports all his machinery and everything manufactured from China, but he orders through a European contact because he
specialty components.
Yeah.
No, because he gets higher quality and whatever specification he has asked for. Somehow the Chinese market respects the Western world in such a way that okay, if they have asked for this, we will have to give them this. When it comes to India, few times Indians are also cheated by the other part of the world because of the price conscious market, and also sometimes because of non-trusted manufacturers and vendors. So many people go to European or the Western part of the world, order it through them, though it comes at a slight price.
Even if it comes through China.
Yeah, it comes through China.
Manufactured as per spec. And,
as per spec and everything.
So the designers are in Europe, right? The design team who designs these chipset are in Europe.
Oh, it's from
They'll have certain expectations on the chip. These guys are pretty big. So since they will not have, so they are called fabless chip design companies. So they'll always give the fabrication to TSMC because they know TSMC is the best.
Okay.
Nothing can beat TSMC. So they do that and they'll get it there. And then they'll have the chipset stored with them. All that we do is we place an order and get them here. Once we have it here, that's when our real work starts. All our algo, all our tuning.
The software part. You have the hardware, now you have to tune it based on your requirement. We have to tune it to
our requirements, and then we try to put these things together at a chip level. So that's how we kind of work around the chipset, around the technology.
Most of the research comes out after the product is end of life and you're going to the next step
during
so that you control the whole market. Is that how it is in the medical world?
It has its both pros and cons. The earlier the research comes, the more trust factor that comes on the product. The later the research comes, it's safe for the product to not be covered.
So it's a delicate balance. You have to figure out at what point to release how much information.
Correct. It's all about that engineering of how you place it.
Timing is the key.
You understand market timing, right?
I was figuring out कब करेंगे इसको, कब information बाहर आ रहा है. When you feel that okay, market is not absorbing the product right way, okay, let's put more peer pressure, talking about vouching it, authenticating the information about the product and everything. Okay, so I wanted to circle back to T-Hub, and we missed rabbit holes and we went to some other questions. So I'm a layman, I don't understand anything, but I have some ideas. I am from Hyderabad. I'm just giving this benefit to everyone all over the country, saying that in Hyderabad we have a place called as Tea Hub, where people who want to do something can figure out something there. So how has what do you share from there? Like, do you think it's easy to get things done at Tea Hub? Do they enable you, or is it still hard for an outsider to get there?
T-Hub position themselves in a very right way. They say we are here for the people who started off with an idea, and that statement has a lot of weightage actually. So when you are someone with just an idea, you don't know many other things that requires to push your idea into a realization and then go into the market, right? T-Hub particularly comes into picture there to show you what all is required to kind of actually build that idea into a product. Does it require tools? T-Hub has tie-ups. Does it require some business connects to validate or do a small MVP to just show that, hey, yeah, I built this and these guys said I can use this? Then T-Hub can come into picture. Or you are almost ready, you are struggling to get some funds so that you'll hire that one great engineer that only can build this, then they can connect you to the investor.
So it's like a guardian in life for startup ideas.
Yes. They put a right word called catalyst. It's a good catalyst.
So earlier you mentioned if the product is not good, also you can use a lot of celebrities and get your job done. I wanted to ask you one genuine question, because again it's from the past. Now it's way to the past. How was your experience with KTR?
I could.
Was it because your team got him connected to you and it was more of a stage talk with him, or did you have some talk to him behind the scenes, behind the camera? How was it like?
I met him couple of times.
Okay.
But one thing I really honestly I really liked is he understands tech so well. He has very good understanding of how things work. And he has a grand vision of just like how how we show our product is so premium and everything. I got connected to his thought process of how he wanted to show Hyderabad as so premium. You will feel that.
Right.
So that's where I got connected personally. Whether whatever the
resonates
political
with
thing
others
is
or not, it's
different.
okay.
As a person, that's where I got connected to how KTR could think. So we had few conversations around this product, the design, and what we wanted to do with the product and everything. But it was more or less a top level conversations. But one proud moment we had was when the FDA, the commissioner came here to Hyderabad from US.
Okay.
He was proud to share that. Hey, you should see this what we have built at Hyderabad.
So that helped you. I don't know if it's in pipeline. If you're moving this product to the global markets, does it help?
It did help to pretty good extent. We got one validation that there was no one with FDA that had similar kind of technology who went there for validation.
Oh.
So that way we knew that we are the first ones that are going there.
So how do you feel that? Because I keep hearing rumors that Apple is going to launch it. Google also, I guess, is launching it through their contact lens. They're launching some sensor through contact lens. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I am more of a news reader and news, I follow the news, I digest the news only. So I read that Google is bringing diabetes check through contact lens, but that's probably a decade away. Apple is bringing something in their Apple watches. I'm hearing this from 5 years. Like the Apple car, it's still not going to happen. But what do you think about this whole...
See, this is a very interesting technology. It makes billions of dollars in the market. Right, a billion population suffers from metabolic issues. The moment you say, hey, I'll give you glucose, you just wear it. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. So, and when it's a multi-billion-dollar business, all the bigger firms for their differentiation, they have to kind of do it. They have to work on that to bring it out into the market, right? But there are so many layers comes into picture with bigger companies. Number one, is this is not their mainstream line of business as on date. They still make billions without this feature as well.
Right.
That is only a cherry on the top for them to make little more maybe. But their business is never this.
But for Google, it might be something anyway not related. But for Apple, anyway, it would be part of their other ecosystem. They keep adding sensors. Post COVID, they added this sensor for oxygen percentage. We can know that we have sleep apnea issue figured out right now.
Correct.
So it might not add millions, but for their product lineup, it would add as a amazing feature.
Yeah.
Though it's long away right now, they just acquired some startup. So do you think that as a threat? Or do you think it's okay? I mean, we are market leaders in our specific domain. What do you think about that?
See, thing is, it depends on how big the market is. Sometimes, competition also helps in a different way. I'll talk. When the market is a billion population, even though someone is way too big, but the amount of market that they acquire might be even 30%. There is another 700 million population that the rest of the brands can actually.
And competition is validation to the idea as well.
Yes. That's where I just said competition is good, because competition not only validates the idea, but they also create awareness around that particular technology along with you. So you don't need to put all the marketing budget around awareness.
True. Yeah. But then when you are doing
in your world, it's like a mall having 10
stores. Huh?
No, 10 restaurants. Right? You don't need to spend on advertising.
It's like a food court now.
Exactly.
That's what I'm focusing on right now. So you are connecting back. When you talk about a hardware, I mean, your current product looks like more like a preventive, or you can say diagnosis. Do you plan to bring something to the next level, which is like what do you call? This is sugar monitoring. So what is the next thing to this? Like what people would need? Yeah. Is it like a food chain where you say that, okay, we have sugarless snacks? I mean, as you mentioned, 5% is that. So where do you see opportunities which even others can look at it thinking that, hey, I know I have zero idea. Like me, I have zero idea on hardware. I have zero idea on software. But yes, I can make some good snacks, and I can talk to these guys saying that, hey, whenever someone says high sugar, okay, you eat our snack. A partnership of those kinds. Yeah. What are those areas, do you think?
So there's a great opportunity to create an ecosystem where very, very slowly, I mean, it might take 2 more years or so, we want to open up our learnings as a platform to public. Because right now we are sitting on 2.5 million data set, which we are not going to use it to sell, but to keep it for good use. The good use can be, hey, in this particular region, these kind of population have experiencing this kind of spikes. Is there any other product that can be in the food, that can be in the
replacing the
open sourcing the data set.
Yes. Anonymizing it and open sourcing the data set so that people build better ecosystem around that particular geographies. For example, a burger in Hyderabad must require millets. Maybe a burger in, or if I have to put it better, might require quinoa just randomly saying, compared to burger in Tier 2 city where they are going through enough physical exercise and activity. Generic floor, common floor is still
okay for them. People sitting in AC rooms, they're not burning out, and they might go for a replacement in the food.
Yes.
And that's through the data, which could be.
That's where we optimize health and wellness across. That's where that optimal point comes. That this region has this particular requirements, and everything around that has to align to it.
So, like a gym centers have started selling protein powders and physical weights. What is the next go-to food area which you are going to look at? Like, or do you think as an opportunity? Because I'm looking at business opportunities where I could tie up with you, or I can suggest all my relatives, hey, this guy is selling good hardware. Inke sath dhanda karo. So what is that area you feel there's an opportunity?
There are really good superfood options in the ancient times that we use. For example, one of the very basic example is we don't need to go crazy over creating new stuff, right? in our understanding, what we saw is Karela powder controls your glucose like anything. Just once in the morning will just takes
बचपन
care
से
of
हम
you
लोग
throughout
कहते
the
हैं
day.
करेला कड़वा है
Yeah,
तो
yeah, you know.
So I have a question. How would you want to tie what people are eating with what the data is saying? Probably there is still that link missing in the whole product.
Activity logging is something that requires
Okay, like Ultra Human, how they had
many ways to do
everyone
it.
is doing it.
actually.
Like Healthify Me is an amazing
yes.
app. I mean, I love that app. I
tying
don't
up
use
with
it.
them and then bringing this.
No, in fact, they could do
Yeah,
their own. Everyone is doing their own data sets these days. I mean,
exactly. See, thing is, Gen AI has become so widely popular. It's a one API call away on how you tie the data. So there's no more uniqueness in understanding the data, tying the data with any one brand. It's more or less commodity.
What I mean is when people use this to get some numbers, having insight on what they had and what they did could be that link that will allow you to build more insights. And right now, do you have those insights or you still have
We
to-
have generic insights right now. It's more like, let's say I took the data. Hey, I just had paneer and chapati. As simple as speech to text conversion.
so we have to still give it, or maybe down the line you could just have some sensor on the back and check it, and whenever you are having a meal, take a picture with that. You have integrated a camera,
more or
but you
less
can
like,
do that with your phone
even
app
in
also.
the phone, you don't need to say
going to say
it.
that.
Click a picture when you are about to take a data. Click a picture. That's it, and then it
But
can
these days
correlate.
there are like hundreds of apps which are already doing these kind of analysis. It's more about कितना भी AI आ गया है, we still have to take a step ahead and take the picture or put the data in it. I mean, Healthify Me, there are all these apps. I'm just promoting one for no reason, but there are many of these apps which are asking us to input the data. Still, there's a need for us to put the data, of course.
The related question was, if you had to extend this hardware, would you add a camera so that you can capture that, or do you think a phone is still the better? What would be the feature set of something like this versus cost?
Coming from consumer end, आप 2 मेगापिक्सल दोगे, बोले 8 दे, 8 दे के बाद बोलेंगे 50 दो, 50 के बाद बोलेंगे 200 मेगापिक्सल दो. Consumers, I mean, we guys would never stop at anything. That's
You will start solving a problem that never existed actually. So,
And then it's a
in fact,
redundant
we
cost.
didn't want to put a display on this gadget for the same reason. How many displays a person should see on a daily basis, right? I have phone. It's always with me. Phone is now like a part of your body. So when I have such bigger display, those guys gave beautiful displays there. Why don't we work on that part? If I because when I first initially started speaking to some people, they say they don't understand what design, what product looks like and everything. They'll say put a display, put all the data here. Then I'll say, okay, if display is there, how will it get integrated into the cloud? I'll put a SIM. TK.
Then you start building a phone on this.
Then I'll say, what you asked is this, right?
So I remember we had a lot of blood sugar monitors at home, and we kept upgrading and got something from Omron. It costed me like 10 times than the regular 1,000 rupees. It was 10,000 rupees. It was a smart one. It used to connect all the data, and it recorded all the data and sent it back to this one. It also had a display on it. I said, when you have pushing everything to this phone, I already have a display in 5 inches next to it. इसमें display लगा के 10,000 करने का कोई मतलब ही नहीं था. It's a redundant hardware, like increasing the cost, and accessibility is also gone. Most people won't buy it at that price point. So sometimes keep it simple. Stupid. The KISS concept is.
That is what I was trying to understand. Would you want to add more features, increase the cost, bloat up the hardware, or just keep it purpose driven?
So asking in a Shark Tank format question, like how much does it cost and how much do you sell it for? If you're okay to say something.
We sell it at 16,650 right now. We make good money on it, so that we can, if something is wrong, the first thing that we do is send a new gadget to that guy and then pick up the
So
older
you're
one.
building replacement as a part of the cost.
Yeah. No, we want them to have Mercedes
Customer
experience.
service.
Or you could just play it around and say that we are making good money so that we can stay in the market for a long run.
No, customers come first to give them the comfort that if something goes bad, we will replace it. I think goes a long way into trust.
So what's the next form factor after something which is like this, which is not a CGM, something similar to a blood pressure monitor machine, like handy machine, carry it anyway, even on a holiday, you can just carry it. What is the next iterations you think would be working out? Because nowadays people are going towards rings and smartwatches, maybe neck bands. I don't know neckband. I don't know if
I think maybe to put it in a different way, can this be miniaturized or it cannot be miniaturized, so it has to be a non-wearable?
So actually, we are working on a new form factor because it again came from a unique set of audience on what they want to do. So far, what we give to people is, hey, you measure, you see the data, and you make something out of it. But for a common person, it's like a diagnostic report. I got CBP, some 300 parameters came in. I know 4. Cholesterol, hemoglobin, and the rest of the data is noise to me. But for a doctor, it might make sense. Hey, you have hematocrit levels down. Why is it? Right? So for an end user, that entire bucket list of data might not really make sense. But we measured because that's a base. How can we build an application layer for them to take actions? If let's say today Amit decided that, hey, next 1 week, I want to have mindfulness. How do we curate all my measurements to his application? So that he'll know what he's doing and where he's going with it. So that version is gonna talk about that.
So it's software. It's the next is about...
The form factor also changes. Right now, this is a discrete measurement. Obviously, form factors are very common. 1, 2 here. It will be either one of them that is always with you.
Okay.
And understands more about you.
So is that one of the learning from this form factor that people may not use it, or the data does not stream continuously for insights, that it has to be worn?
See, we are not worried about the data there actually. We are a lot of our consumer base doesn't want something to be intrusive into their life. They want to understand health whenever they want to understand health.
That's fair.
I have this gadget.
Yeah.
It's on my drawing room. I check it once or twice in a fortnight. Yeah. Whenever I feel that, okay, आज थोड़ा tiredness है या फिर lethargy, all these new fancy words, whatever. हम लोग हिंदी में थकावट बोलते हैं, but ठीक है. So ये जब लगता है, feeling आती है कि यार, did I overeat something? Is my sugar here or there? Then I use it. It's on demand.
Yeah.
Like sugar is blood pressure is also on demand. Normally, I don't think generally people would just strap a blood sugar machine, BP machine every day. जिस दिन लगा कि थोड़ा चक्कर आ रहा है, तब बीपी मशीन उठाया, चेक किया, हाँ बहुत बीपी है. वो सोचने से बीपी भी बढ़ रहा होगा. ये भी हो सकता है.
So we curated this for the people who knows when to use it and how many times to use it. This version is all about that. Measure. We have a lot of learnings after that. We spoke to a lot of end consumers where they said, hey, I don't mind having it, but just the point you mentioned, right? I get stressed out by looking at the data, right? But why should we present the data to them that they get stressed out? Why can't we present it in a lot better way?
True.
So that
I have a question on this. You are right now B2C.
Yeah.
Why not go B2B? Because this is something which the hospitals should be recommending. Like the hospitals would recommend Pepsodent or Colgate. Like a dentist, my brother is a dentist, so I don't know. He doesn't suggest anything. I think that's a fair point. I should ask him. Why don't you connect with partners with hospitals, or do you think they don't want to?
Do you see the associations needing to issue formal guidance before hospitals, doctors start using this?
2 reasons to this. Number 1, when you see AccuCheck or BP machine in a hospital environment, as a normal person, you will never want to buy them.
Okay.
Like, I am cool. If I get something, then there is that machine that I can get. But this gadget is not once you get
this
it.
This is over the counter.
This is gadget is so that you will never get it. You will never get that hypertension or diabetes.
Okay.
So that is one reason. The second reason is around sorry, I lost chain of thoughts.
Medical associations.
Yeah, medical associations, right? The second reason is we are majorly D2C and not through hospital chains as such is the technology limitation itself. It's so if you get a thermometer, either you or Amit, anyone can just put it under the tongue and it gives you the data. But EYVA is specialized there. EYVA needs to know about you first.
That's where I was moving to the next question.
I'm sorry, I did not use this.
So if I would like to share it with you, say that, hey, when you use it for a day and give it to me, it doesn't work. Like you have to use at least 3 days of data if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Because the other day I had guests at home. I said, I have a machine to check your sugar. He said, show it to me. It won't work anyway. 3 दिन के लिए पहले आप चले जाओगे. So it takes 3 days of data to.
Calibration for that person. But how does it cross-validate that, okay, the numbers I'm reading is correct?
It doesn't need to cross-validate. It needs to know what your physiological data looks like. Because we already have the data.
Okay.
It looks at your data. It tries to continuously compare to where you fall.
Which cluster you belong to.
Yes. Which cluster you belong to. So for that, it needs that learning. This took a lot of time for us to rightly communicate to the end user.
That is the way to calibrate. In a way.
Yes. If I have to ask you, hey, put your low, put your high, and then my gadget measures, I don't need the gadget. You tell me your numbers, I'll tell you what your glucose
you give
is.
me a decent average.
Correct.
So, how, if someone is testing with a CGM or maybe a blood sugar monitor, how close do the numbers come?
While I don't want to compare with other products because they also need to be referenced against something.
They are the benchmarks maybe.
So what is the benchmark then?
So there's a WHO recommended golden standard diagnostic center machine with which EYVA is calibrated with all the data. And it always falls close to that data than all these.
Okay. I think that's even better.
Yeah.
That's fairly kind of accurate is what you can say.
It is supposed to be because every we see a lot of these inputs from the consumers are when we keep testing, right? At the same time, I have 4 machines in my office. I check with all of them. Each one of them shows 20-30 delta differences, and then immediately with the same lead, I take another immediate input right after food. All of them will have a very different data. But so far the limitation is no one checks with more machines, no one checks with the second time.
So I have 2 questions on that. One, isn't CGM better in that case, which is continuously monitoring and it gives you better reading? I mean, I just had some heavy exercise and sometimes post heavy cycling or something, the sugar levels again start spiking up because some fat is burning, and not a medical guy, but something around that. One, so isn't CGM better in that case?
Continuous health monitoring is better in that way. I mean, I'm not just recommending CGM, but continuous health monitoring as a whole. Something that is there always, and then it is constantly observing whether you're doing good or not. But it depends on, as a person, you want a system to observe you or not. If, let's say today you got CGM, tomorrow you feel like it's getting intruding, you can't take it off and put it back. That's the problem. Once you put it, you have to see
it
the
stays
data.
with you for some time.
You have to see
Whether
the
you
data.
like it or not, if you don't want to burn money, you have to stay with it.
I get your point.
I used it.
I made him try once and then he felt like this is like continuous. It's not CGM, it's continuous billing machine. CBM.
I got some insights for myself where, okay, I need to do this or make some small changes in my lifestyle so that I avoid the spikes. So it helped to that extent.
Your body keeps behaving very differently around glucose that way. Let's say you learned for 14 days, this is what works and everything. The next day you expect your body to follow that pattern.
Body will have
good enough times it wouldn't follow that pattern. So, sometimes I eat dosa in the morning. I'll see it spikes up. Then I'll be like, okay, eating this dosa spikes up. After a week, someday I just again eat dosa. But that day it won't spike up. Thing is, I don't know why it didn't spike up. Then I have to correlate it with all the activities I did. Did I sleep?
Maybe there was some deficiency. You burnt energy more that day.
What happened? So it's a never-ending process. Your body is the most complex system that keeps showing you how magic can happen on a daily basis. It is never a single pattern.
It's a feedback loop, so it'll keep adapting to some inputs. It'll
Something in the environment changed by a half a degree, your body has an adaptation mechanism there. So, for example, till yesterday I checked dosa and it shot up to 160. Today, it's sunny day, a temperature increased by 2 degrees. My body adapted to a higher metabolism. Then it is burning much faster than what it was supposed to do yesterday. So, it all changed.
Makes sense. I mean, but that sensors also still somehow, like when you're talking about the accuracy of the data, I have a different point of view because I make content around fitness gadgets and stuff, and people ask me, which is, do you recommend Apple Watch or do you recommend Fitbit or do you recommend MI Band or something? I just say go for anything. It doesn't matter how accurate that is. Even an Apple Watch would be showing you 10,000 steps. Fitbit would be showing you 8,000. MI would be showing you 12,000. It doesn't matter. What matters is use it without the watch for a few days, then start monitoring and then try to increase the number. That's what I believe in. Okay. If you just look at the accuracy part, saying that, hey, you have to be accurate, but you're not doing anything after that, you're not using the data, what's the point? So rather I say, buy the 2,000 rupees, any fitness tracker, look at your data, without looking at it for 1 week, just enjoy your life.
Correct.
Then look at the average. Oh, I'm doing 3,000 steps a day. Correct. Start targeting 10,000. It might not be accurate, but you're still better than your early days. Correct. So when it comes to all these products also, I feel that, more than accuracy, and for accuracy, we have hospitals anyway. When you go to hospital, we look at accuracy. These are just
trends.
These are just for getting an idea.
Yeah, you need to get the trends actually. See, obviously, every product is good. Every brand would have built it
something
to make sure it's not like let's put something random, right? They would have put some efforts. They would have put some thought process, and every technology behaves in a different way. Someone would have considered one variable, other would have considered another variable. You don't lose out on missing 10 more steps that your Apple Watch didn't count. You don't lose anything. You are not doing definitive diagnostics around these devices. You are trying to understand the patterns. If I moved, what happened? If I didn't move, what happened? More or less that. So for that, any device is more or less okay.
The same.
Until someone says, I am gonna tell you whether to now decide that I became ill or not. That's when you need definitive diagnostics.
True.
That anyways, even a diagnostic machine shouldn't tell you. Doctor has to see the data. That guy has to tell you that you are sick.
So in that context, does this device need FDA approvals to be marketed in the US?
Ideally, when you are around general wellness, you don't need FDA approvals particularly. Definitive diagnostics or definitive medicine recommendations requires FDA. FDA is a lot of layers.
You would see a lot of challenges in that whole process and
a lot of layers. How do you define what you are gonna do with the product?
So if it's a diagnostic machine, then FDA approvals would be required.
Definitive diagnostics, yes.
Wellness thing may not be required.
Yes.
So I wanted to circle back to the business side of the whole thing. India is now becoming, I don't think we should call it India as a developing country. We are kind of now a developed country to some extent at least. When you look at the business, the world is moving crazy nowadays. But at the same time, health issues are increasing in India. Most of the people are going through stress. Sugar, fat, all these things are increasing. In fact, there are more men in makeup salons nowadays than women. I mean, for hair loss and male.
You are making fun of me now.
No. I'm talking about myself maybe then.
I'll get a pedicure done.
I know, but I'm just saying because that's the way things are moving. So, do you believe that there's a big, market coming up for the medtech industry, or do you think we should most of the next generation should still focus on the consumer electronics, like the regular accessory business or those? Because I feel ज़्यादा लोग बीमार होने वाले हैं. Next 10 years we are going to see a big benchmark of numbers going up. Not just your competition, I'm just saying generally. Do you think there's a big scope?
Actually, first to address this last part, it's gonna be health is gonna get accessorized. Everything that you buy, there's no more medtech and consumer electronics. They'll all become one. You buy a earring, you might see a sensor in the earring that is continuously We got into that I think sixth stage of evolution, where there is gonna be electronics on your body continuously for good, not. I mean,
Neuralink.
depends on how.
So the
you
more
use
we
it.
are trying to stay away, you are saying we are going to adopt more and more into ears everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where the world is gonna move, because you want to understand. I mean, it is all for the betterment. If I have to put it in a way, you want to understand your health, but you don't have enough enough ecosystem in place that you have to go buy a medical device or go to hospital. That is all a process oriented systems, right? Now there are other parts where you use on a daily basis. You buy a watch, you buy earrings, you buy gold rings, or you buy a lot of other accessories, cufflinks or whatever. Now technology starts looking at how can I make sure my technology gets integrated into those accessories, so the person doesn't have to go through complicated stuff.
Healthcare costs also. If you are able to prevent complications in countries with social healthcare, they benefit from it.
It is going to optimize and reduce burden on the healthcare ecosystem altogether.
So that is one, you answered it, that yes, we might see different ways the whole technology would change and people would start making it like a regular thing. Like smartphones are part of our life, all these gadgets. So what are those areas you see a scope for the youngsters to focus on? In the next 5 years, you see that, okay, we might not be there, but there is a big scope that people should be focusing on.
Yeah. So one thing I'd love to talk, particularly in India, honestly. So people look at a business or a growth as a success in terms of how much money they raised or how much money they are making out of it. Honestly, OpenAI was making zero, are still making zero on GPT. But the use cases changed the way the world is now behaving. I ask so many things to GPT right now, right? So I think within India, people have to focus on building that is more meaningful than a trade. I see some stories on this Insta University that this guy was making 10 lakhs per annum at a job. Now he is making 100 crores by selling chapel, let's say. Somehow I don't resonate with that. You say this guy built the world's best chapel that you wore and you felt so comfortable in wearing it. You promote that story from India. Don't say that guy made 10 lakhs, now he is making 100 crores on top of it.
So don't amplify the success of for the wrong reason, reason success.
I assume you're talking about amplify creation.
Amplify innovation. Don't amplify money. Money gets amplified anyways.
But somehow, so my question was again about what are the scopes of, what are the areas of opportunities. But if youngsters don't look at it from financial background also, they might again burn out. I mean, they would just try out saying that, hey, I'll try something for the goodness of everyone, but eventually there's no money out of it. So if there's no plan in place, they would burn out.
The same question in a different way. Would you recommend your life journey to someone else?
It depends on how much they love it. I love what I did so far. All the good things, all the bad things. As a person, it changed me a lot. So I 100% kind of recommend, but they'll have their own experiences. It is not going to be the same, but they'll be really better people after they go through what they go through. And coming to this part, right? Money has to be a byproduct, and they have to make money, otherwise it doesn't make sense. What I'm trying to say is, people shouldn't get. A lot of people comes to me and says, I want to start up because I want to make a lot of money. That's a very wrong reason. Startup doesn't give you money just like that.
They are sold that angels, VCs, and then unicorns. They are sold that dream of
like
success.
Out of 1,000 startups, one guy would have got that status, and these guys think they go for, what I'm trying to say, they go for the wrong reasons for a startup.
But that's how people see dreams, right? I mean, people go to Mumbai thinking that they'll become an actor, they'll stand next to the Taj Hotel, they feel like maybe hero banunga. When they come to T-Hub or they see a startup, they feel like I'll also become a unicorn.
Correct.
But one in a million would actually be able to achieve that.
In my mind, being a startup founder is 10x harder than doing a job. Doing a very tough job also.
So, all that the numbers and everything is a whole different story. What that guy is going through to live up to that number is much harder. It's
too hard
If
to-
Reaching the number is one part, living up to that and maintaining that number is another challenge.
So I think people, when they follow that, not for the wrong, hey, I want to start up because I saw this problem with a lot of people. I think I can build a product and it will go to them. When it goes to them, money comes. Money won't
Go.
If you are really solving a problem that
where will the
someone
money go?
has.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I mean, we circled back to a lot of interesting conversations. I mean, of course, these kind of podcasts are not to talk about what you currently do, because we of course wish you a great success, and we know definitely we'll see, what do you call that, except unicorns, what are other synonyms for in the startup world? I don't know. Sorry, from the Insta University I learned about unicorns, but I mean, we wish you success, but at the same time we want to understand your journey, understand that how someone else can do something, and when they see the success of some startup, they should also understand the whole journey, how you had also seen the struggles and seen the ups and downs in life. It's not a straight line curve. Like
Iceberg theory, where success is an iceberg. People only see the top. They don't see what else are at the bottom.
What else
All
are
the
the
things that it took to stay afloat.
and the bottom sinks the Titanic also.
And there are crazy situations that kind of tested us back then.
And that makes you stronger.
Way stronger, actually. I mean, at the time you'll be going through that, but what I call it as, startups give you a test of time. The world will test you whether this guy can actually withstand this or not.
True.
That literally happens in startups.
No, makes sense, Sunil. Wishing you all the best. This was an interesting conversation. Wanted to document what you have done, what you are doing, and your thoughts, and also wanted to get some tech answers posted by Venu, because
Thank you for all the answers and taking all my questions. It was really insightful. And I really enjoyed this conversation, probing into your mind, how you think, and from what little I've understood, you are going to go a long distance, go a long way, because of your grit and your perseverance. So all the best.
Thanks.
And we'll circle back again 10 years later, and again we all could talk back and say that, okay, we are in India 2035, looking at everyone wearing what kind of gadgets, and you would be asking like, what is this new thing? What is that new kind of gadget?
So there is this theory, actually, evolution, human evolution. So
You're talking about level 6. Is it something I wanted to understand
so
that?
There are 7. Level 6 is where electronics be on the body. Level 7 is where they become part of your body.
Okay.
So that's the...
Can we be an early adopter in that?
Yeah,
The Neuralink. I mean, any Indian guy doing it?
I think he did right beside you.
This is not implanted.
No, but it became part of your body, right? So going forward, the Android system, humanoid systems, where part human, part system was it's I think it's in written somewhere. It's called something.
Okay.
It took thousands of years to come till 4th. From there on, it kind of took an exponential rate.
Even our journey, in 1,000 years, we achieved comparatively in the last 100 years, in the last 10 years, the kind of you can say advancement is. So this was one of the premises that if aliens can exist, and if there are 10,000 years civilization, 1 million year civilization as an example, that would be a lot more advanced. And
more advanced.
Unless we destroy ourselves, we could potentially make a lot of progress.
Makes sense. I just hope that Microsoft doesn't launch the Neuralink, or I would see a BSOD flashing in my eyes. Blue screen
it comes to a situation where we can't avoid, maybe.
And the matrix is not far from reality when you think about it.
So we are looking at a few decades maybe.
maybe more.
Little more. But AI is gonna change how we see. Venu has a phone. You have a phone. I have a phone. All of them look the same, behave the same. But with AI coming into picture, your phone might behave very differently than my phone. I think I'm sure that will
few minutes back I was thinking something in my mind while you were answering some question. I was thinking when we were talking about OpenAI and stuff like that, I was thinking, why can't AI do a basic job that, I wanted to talk to you, when are you reaching here, what time are we shooting? This is all AI my assistant should talk to your assistant, and they should finally say, Sunil, you should be here at 1:30. That's the only thing you should be knowing. I should be knowing, oh, he's coming here. And the Neuralink chip should be telling me everything about you.
Yeah, in fact, there was a talk by Peter Diamandis the other day at
Under the
AI
AI
summit.
event, huh?
Yeah, I was
AI
there. In fact, he was talking about this. In fact, they are investing a lot into this area now. They are more or less looking to create a Jarvis. Where it does everything that you ask it. That's where I told how your mobile phone can be very different, behaving differently. That hey Jarvis, speak to Amit's assistant and schedule everything. I'm in for it.
Right.
Then Jarvis will take care. And it takes to that extent.
LLMs plus actions.
Yeah. So you might not be looking at your system or trying to type in. So far, your communication is type or.
Once you have the intent, and once you know both the parties are having a meeting, and when you have an intent saying that, okay, I'm available, just tell him whenever my work hours are free, assign a thing. Both of these assistants between both humans should be automated, and they should patch up everything, and then make sure that our times are saved.
What you're referring to is
Assistant.
solving tasks. You may hit obstacles, but you figure out how to reach that journey.
They should figure out.
And that is already happening in robotics, where the robot with an LLM kind of a thing is trying to solve problems. You give it a command, it breaks it down into a series of steps. If something does not work, it takes an alternate path, but it tries to reach the destination.
I do that right now with my GPT audio with a 4.0. While in the car, right, I'll put it on speaker and say, hey, do you think weather has any impact on my metabolism? Can you quantify? It actually runs analysis and reads it out to me. Then I'll say, okay, pick this topic. Let's go deeper into this. Then say, yeah, cool. Let's go deeper into this. I'm already talking to my assistant. You're talking to it.
But I want my assistant to talk to your assistant. That's what is my goal.
Correct. I think
that's when I would say that AI has moved. I mean, Apple intelligence might bring that. Apple's AI intelligence. Apple
to Apple you can do.
Yeah, actually they could do that. They could say like, we are buddy partners. We trust each other. Yeah. Our data is stored. Yeah. And let's try to communicate with each other. Yes. So, I mean, there are a lot of things which would come up, and glad to have you. And it was nice to discuss about.
Thank you so much, Mehta. It's I don't think I ever opened up this much on a podcast. So really interesting conversation.
अगर आपको ये पॉडकास्ट पसंद आया है तो लाइक करना ना भूलें, और टफ स्टोरी को यूट्यूब और सारे सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म्स पर फटाफट से फॉलो और सब्सक्राइब भी कर दीजिए। ऐसी इंटरेस्टिंग और इंस्पायरिंग कंटेंट के लिए मिलते हैं हम आपसे हमारे अगले एपिसोड में। तब तक के लिए गुड बाय।